Wepa family, what's up? Happy Sunday. Welcome to a new International Comic Crusaders. I'm your host, Al Omega, owner of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. And of course, I'm joined by awesome two co-pilots all the way from the UK, Mr. Dave Elliott. Hey.
Hello, everyone.
And of course, all the way from Germany, the Twitter boss himself, Mr. Chris Buse. What's up, bro?
Guten Tag und willkommen to our show about the X-Men. Hello.
Oh my God. All about the X-Men is right. You guys came up in conversations in the DMs. Yep. We slide into each other's DMs to talk comic book stuff. All right, folks?
No.
So
we are nerds.
Right? Super nerds. So let me tell you, these guys had a great chat and we've come up with an amazing presentation here. Now, this may not be in any particular order, but definitely about artists that have had, or creators in general, within the scope of the X-Men history that have had an impact. Now, the question here is, which creator left the greatest legacy of all for the X-Men? And we hope to kind of not come to the determination of who that is, but hopefully help you determine who that is, all right? And I want you to throw it in the comments. I want you to tell me who you think. If we missed out somebody, or if you have a beef with something, or if you just want to spread joy and love, please make sure to interact today.
And I just want to point out, I just want to remind everyone, we're three old bastards. there's going to be a lot of young artists out there. You're going like, why didn't you include so-and-so? Why didn't you include so-and-so? I think the purpose of this is really about the who put the biggest foundation, who contributed the most to the foundations of the X-Men that we know and love today. And I do know, I mean, I know we're getting a bit obscure here. We're like this little known property called the X-Men, but we do like to be a little obscure sometimes.
And who's ever heard of the X-Men before? I mean, this is my first time.
Exactly, yeah. But we do like to be a little obscure sometimes, so here it is.
Yes. And can you imagine, I just did some research, and in the 70s, when the X-Men were published in Germany, they were called the X-Humans. So nothing about men and women. They were the X-Humans, the X-Menschen, as we say in German.
Now, are you sure? Because there was a comic book called the X-Humans.
Yes. There was
actually a comic book called the X-Humans.
That's very interesting. But what they did in the late 60s, when they first published the Marvel books, they translated all the names into German. So Dr. Doom became Dr. Unheil, which is a German word. Sounds very German, doesn't it?
Unheil, yeah, bro.
See, just as you brought that up, for me, I think it's a very interesting fact that I remember I used to go around, like I used to buy all my comics around the Soho area in London. And as I was going from one comic shop to another, I kept finding these other shops that there was this little Italian like news agent's tobacconist. And I would, on the off chance, I thought, I wonder if they've got some Italian comics, and they did.
Oh, nice.
However, they would also have the translated comics, and so at the time, I'd see Lumino Ragnar, which would be like Spider-Man. However, years later, I noticed, and I'm presuming it's a corporate thing to do, is we started to see in countries like Spain and Italy, Spider-Man. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to brand the English. So basically, they wanted people to just say Spider-Man instead of the equivalent.
Spider-Man, whatever. Right?
Yeah. So to brand it, so they were all about. So Marvel and DC seemed to be all about the branding. So we started to see more and more the actual.
Makes a lot of sense. It changed in Germany too, and it was not called the X-Humans. It was called the X-Menschen, which is the German equivalent of human. So it's X-Menschen. Menschen. Wow. Which is basically, the Yiddish word Mensch. So it's human being. So it was not gendered. And that was very interesting. It was very interesting. I thought it was very interesting. And
was that purpose? Wait, was that on purpose though, being kind of non-gendered? Is it because of the word itself?
It's because of the word itself, because the word men in English has a double meaning, but it doesn't have in German. So if you translate it directly, it means X Männer, and that makes no sense. So it's only men then, and that really makes no sense.
And
so
there goes today's language lesson, folks.
Exactly. German 101 here.
You're always going to get that little extra with us.
Oh, you get a lot of German lessons in my horror novel. Trust me there. There will be some German spoken. I already announced it.
Oh, really?
Work with what you've got. I mean, it makes no sense for me to have Spanish characters in there. Okay, now ask L, of course, but I speak a little bit German, so I can have some guys speak German a little bit. Why not?
That's great. Hey, man, we just pulled off our first bilingual podcast not too long ago with Lucas, where we spoke to a YouTube superstar called Alex Montiel, or rather known as El Escorpión Dorado. That was a great one. But there you hear Al Mega and even Lucas throw out some Spanish, boy.
and let me just say, Spanish sounds so much nicer than German. Say that again. That sounds so wonderful. German is like, and Spanish is like,
hey, we're singing nice. And you guys are screaming. I know. Right?
Exactly. That's how it works. That's how it works. We're like dogs barking.
And then when you listen to the Brits talking, they're like talking down on us. How dare they?
Hey, listen, I was with some
of course, we're naturally superior.
I was with some German mates in a supermarket in New York once, a Korean supermarket, and the guy heard that we were talking in German, and he said, "Oh, you guys from Germany?" He said, "Yeah, we're from Germany." And you know how the Koreans are always with this, "Oh." And then he said, "How do you talk to your women with a language like that?" I thought it was really hilarious. It was hilarious. I really liked it. It was fun. That was fun. Yeah, but here we are not here today for German lessons. We're here for X-Men lessons. And so let's get to it, because
I'm opening this bad boy up now, man. Oof.
Yeah, comments piling up here saying, what's with all that German speaking here? Let's speak English and let's talk about the X-Men.
Well, up pretty. Hold on, let me remove that banner because we're covering Chris. Here we are. We get to see all of you. All right, but let's show off our brand, of course, because folks, you need to know where to follow us. All right. So
and we have a brand new Facebook logo thanks to our mate Dave Elliott. I will share it later on Twitter too.
Yeah, and it's very sexy. We're dressed though, folks. I promise we're still dressed in the photo, but it looks really good.
I might have hair.
We try to update regularly. We try to update after with every podcast.
What's new?
All righty. So, does you have a robot there, bro?
It's my Alexa. Alexa, stop.
We were about to have a special guest here. What's going on?
There's a new member.
Sexy robot voice.
Yep.
So here we are, the presentation, which creators left the greatest legacy for the X-Men. Now, we got to start it from the beginning, of course. This is not an ICC if we don't mention this particular person.
Well, hold on.
Wait, where are we going?
If we go by, like now, I've already seen the images that Chris has sent. So rather than, I know who the name you're about to mention, but let's look first at what, let Chris lead in with what the book he's going to talk about first.
Oh, yes. All I got to do is this first. Go ahead, and then I'll move it along. Talk about the book so I could present the name.
Yeah. So when we talk about the X-Men, the first name that comes to mind is, of course, Stan Lee. I mean, how could it be? Let me set the scene for you. It's 1963. Yes. Let me set the scene. It's 1963. What has happened is that Marvel, all of a sudden, they can put out 3 more books due to a distribution agreement they have with the sister company of DC Comics, who were distributing their books at the time. So 3 more books means more work for Stan. And as Stan has often said in interviews, said, if I make a team book, which he also did with the Avengers, but these were pre-existing characters, but if I make a team book, well, I have to come up with 4 or 5 origin stories, and you know what that is? Work. So he figured, what can I do instead of coming up with a lot of origin stories? I know there is a book out there, and this is the book we were talking about. It's called Children of the Atom. Let's start with that book. That's a book that was published in the 1950s, and if you read it, and if you track it down, or if you go to the Wikipedia page for it, you will see the similarities to the X-Men are striking. I mean, the title, Children of the Atom, of course, that it starts. It's a book it's set in the 1970s. It was published in the 50s. It's set in the 1970s. And there's these the scientists and workers even who work at a nuclear plant. It's a weapons manufacturing company, if I remember this correctly. And there's an accident, and the children that are born from these parents, they have special abilities. You know how the story goes.
Interesting.
Yes, and they don't have the abilities we would associate with the X-Men, but they are all super smart. And the parents figure we have to hide the kids from the public because the public is not ready for our children. And then there is a mysterious mentor figure who runs a school that is called, swear to God, a school for gifted children.
No.
And he brings these kids together at the school to train them. Doesn't that sound familiar?
It doesn't sound like anything I know.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's very obscure.
I don't even know why you bring this up, Chris.
Very obscure, very obscure.
Wait a minute. So did this person, Wilmer H. Shiraz, have any affiliation at all with what would come?
No.
Wow. So total rip, huh? Kind
it's
of.
Interesting. It's interesting.
This is like 10 years earlier. This is like 10 years earlier.
And it's interesting. I believe that there's been a mini-series or two from Marvel called Children of the Atom.
I was going to ask that. Yes, very true. They took the title. Wow.
Yeah, hey, well, the copyright's probably lapped, the trademark's probably lapped, so why not take it?
Probably just took it. I mean, it's too much of a coincidence. I mean, and if you go to the next slide, there's the next coincidence, because there's always been talked about, okay, there's the super team, there is a mentor in a wheelchair, these people have special powers. What do you call them? Oh, we call them the Doom Patrol, because the Doom Patrol was published a few months before the first issue of X-Men came out. Okay. But that's not to say that Jack and Stan were already working on the X-Men. We know how comics work. There's a long lead time. But nevertheless, this came out earlier. It has a mentor in a wheelchair. It has very bizarre characters with very bizarre powers. And they all have an origin story, lo and behold. But it's interesting. I think what Stan did, he was now putting out 11 books a month, superhero books. And that is a lot of work. And so he wanted to make a shortcut, and I'm sure what he did was basically say, well, I have this idea here from this book, and there are many instances where Stan Lee took ideas from other material. I mean, that's okay. You can always steal a little bit here and a little bit there.
You could be inspired. Let's not use steal. Let's use the word inspired.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of the things that we get a little too precious about is when people talk about artists copying from photographs or other artists' work, or being influenced by artists outside of comics and bringing that into their own artwork. Writers that, again, they've got their subscription to Scientific America and etc., and they see an idea and they somehow turn that into a storyline for a graphic novel series or something. It happens all the time. And I think one of the things I want to point out, and I'm going to point it out more as we go along, for those of you out there, if you're aspiring to be a writer, if you're aspiring to be an artist, if you hear people saying like, oh, you shouldn't copy, you shouldn't trace, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't, that's BS. Probably every major creator you care for, you really like, has studied not only just artists outside of comics, but they've copied, traced even some of the biggest names, and we're going to come across some of them on this podcast. I'll point out to you where they're so clearly influenced, where they've copied another artist and absorbed parts of their artwork into their own, to the point where later on you can't see it, but it's there. Exactly.
Major shout out to one of my new favorite YouTube channels. You really need to check out this guy if you're into music in any shape or form. The channel has a very strange name. It's called Trash Theory. Go on YouTube, look for it. It's this amazing channel where this guy, he is a British guy, he looks at music from a certain period of time and bands, and then he has this analysis about the bands. Well, they took this riff from this band, they took this from that band,
cool.
And it's all true. And I saw this wonderful thing that also makes it into my novel, where he goes to every line of the Smith songs. And he said, oh, Morrissey took this from this obscure movie, and he took this line directly from this movie. And it's so amazing, because of course Morrissey did this. And he put lines into the songs he knew from British movies. But it was a transformative experience. It's not really stealing. It's like putting things together in a new shape and form. And I mean, this is also what Stan and Jack did.
They had I want to repeat that there then. That boy Klebs EX said, borrowed accidentally on purpose.
Yes.
I mean, actually, the other thing I'm going to point out about, what you said earlier, your comment about the timing and how comics were worked on so much farther ahead. That wasn't quite true at that time.
No, not with King. Not with the King Kirby there.
They didn't have that massive lead-in time. It wasn't this. You didn't have Diamond previews that you had to have the information for 6 months before the issue came out with a cover image.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Literally, like that's why when Stan Lee had the bulletins page and his soapbox page, right next to it was the checklist of what was on sale that month to promote what else was on sale other than the house ads. You needed people to know. You needed to know what was coming out next month.
I love that.
And you're absolutely right. If the artist couldn't finish the page in time, then there was Jack who would finish the page for free, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally they were much stricter. There was none of this. You know what? I really want to put my utmost into this. Give me another month. Yeah, don't worry, we'll skip a month. No, you were gone. Like you
just get her done, right?
We're not talking about planetary here. There's not a year break between 26 and 27.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was a different time. But nevertheless, you see these coincidences. We talked about the coincidence. Swamp Thing was the same thing. Swamp Thing and Man Thing came out around the same time.
Yeah, almost a month apart, I think.
Swamp Thing is better. Yeah. I'm sorry. It is. Swamp Thing is a better character, right? Yeah. I don't like Man Thing.
That really depends. Okay, so let's go into the X-Men then. Next slide, please, if you want.
That beautiful cover.
So this is the X-Men we all love and know in the first original incarnation, and you see who's the bad guy. We immediately have Magneto as the bad guy.
It's funny though. It's something I noticed here where he kind of has horns, so you couldn't almost assume is he the devil? You see this area there?
Yeah.
I don't see those horns after.
I think he is, and if you think about the last shot in X-Men First Class, the movie, which is still my favorite X-Men movie. I know X2 is good, blah blah blah.
No, First Class is.
I love First Class is where it's at, and the last shot of Fassbender in the Jack Kirby outfit, I nearly screamed in the cinema when I saw that. I saw that movie three nights in a row. That is one of my favorite comic book movies. I mean, it's so Kirby.
Yes.
And the swagger Fassbender brings to the screen. I mean, that is Magneto. I mean. Yes. Yeah. And you have it here. You see how powerful it is. You see all these new characters, quote unquote, they have to go against this guy and he's holding his own. And you don't even see his face and you see how powerful he is. That's the strength of a Jack Kirby cover right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do got to ask though, is that a bazooka that the Angel's carrying?
Obviously. I think so.
Like, bro, he's running around with a bazooka? Wow.
It's literally probably just a pipe. It's just literally he's got a pipe and he doesn't know yet that it's made of metal and it's not going to do much good against Magneto.
It's strange. It's bizarre. But what you also see is look how tiny Marvel Girl is in the background. Yeah. We all see that, and she's the most powerful character.
Hello.
Yeah, it's basic, and this is once again Stan's female characters in the early days. I mean, okay, it's the early '60s, but there is no understanding. Oh, she has nearly the same power set, or she has the same power set as Professor X, and she's also telekinetic, and still she is on the sidelines. Versus, oh, look here, Iceman is on the forefront,
and a very helpless pose too. Because my God, danger!
Take it. Oh,
well, wow. She went through the exact same story arc as Sue Storm did from the Fantastic Four. It was
definitely,
as her powers developed, it turns out she goes from the weakest to the strongest.
Exactly, it's the same. But you also have then Chris Claremont coming in, who has his own ideas about strong women, but more of that later when we get to two other stories. So let's go to the next one, because what we still have here is a lot has been made about the X-Men as a metaphor for what was going on with Magneto cast as Malcolm X and Professor X as Martin Luther King. This is a story about outsiders. This is a story about racial differences, and so on and so forth. But at its core, in the early beginning, it's basically a Spider-Man book. It's teenage outsiders who look very nice but have special powers that makes them outsiders. The teen angst that is in Spider-Man that then probably took from Ditko to a certain degree. He infused the book with here very early on.
Probably.
And you see this. And there's also something strange. I haven't pulled that page, but there's a very strange page where Professor X, let's say, has some very interesting thoughts about Jean, which is once again,
really?
it's once again the 60s dynamic of the older man and the young girl who's the student. I mean, you have this a lot in the early days. You have that a lot in the 60s. The mentor, quote unquote.
Well, it's amazing. That was still a holdover from even like the Victorian era and Edwardian era, where it was always the young bride to be was always marrying some sort of 50-year-old guy who was successful. He could definitely pay her way.
You have it in Henry James' Portrait of a Lady, where the rich guy gives this girl money so he can see how she develops. It's sort of an experiment for him, and it's quite interesting. It comes from the same.
That's
same
sicko
perspective.
stuff, man. What's sick men from that era?
Yeah.
Yep.
But women got to have their own back later on with toy boys. So
that's another podcast, folks. That's an after dark podcast right there.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have ever read an X-Men book from let's say this from the 80s, you know where this is going. I mean, Jean is eventually the most powerful, so there's the dynamic too. So we're going through this. Let's go through this rather quickly here. It's once again here's the first shot of Magneto's face for the first time.
That side view, man, makes him look the devil right here. Look at that. Love the mask.
He looks very interesting. He's very interesting character concept. He's very menacing, and you see how he cuts through these fools. I mean, it's nothing for Magneto. I mean, this is Kirby he probably did this on a Sunday, the whole book. I don't know, but he just did this. I mean, this is Kirby. I mean, there's another shot later where we see really how good he is. But this is amazing stuff. And going to this very quickly, let's go to the next one. Here you see. Thankfully they kept the color mistake also in the reprints, because I think that's important to keep those mistakes in, because
this one in particular, right?
Yeah, there's a Scarlet Witch in green. Yes, makes a lot of sense. But it's her first appearance. Probably the colorist didn't know why she was called Scarlet Witch, but here we go.
So is this the first appearance of both Pietro and Wanda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Look at his costume. It's blue, and they went with blue. That's quite interesting. And you see the Brotherhood of Blue. And there you have the first appearance of Juggernaut and the Juggernaut Bitch, and also the origin of Professor X. This is once again Stan Lee making villains connected to the heroes. We saw that with the Green Goblin also in Spider-Man. This is a fantastic Kirby cover. This is the first appearance of the Sentinels.
Wait a minute. Why is Jean acting like Spider-Man? Look. She's swinging into town like your neighborhood Spider-Man TikTok people.
Who knows? Who knows?
Oh, man. But look at that. Wait, so in this issue, the Sentinels were human-sized?
No. This is just a cover. It probably couldn't fit him on the cover. Or the cover came first
smaller.
and then they figured out.
They were smaller to start with.
That's true, but not that small.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this cover, Paul.
This is one of my favorite covers. And it's also very interesting, because what it says here in the caption is very interesting. Is don't spoil the big surprise at the end. And when I went through this, I said, is this the issue where Professor X dies? Because he died also, and later he came back. This is comics, so no spoilers there. No, but the surprise at the end of the book is something else. But if you go to the next page, you also see something very interesting here. Look at this wonderful page. Kirby was no longer doing the art on this book. He was only doing layouts, but he did this one page. This is such a Kirby.
So Jay Gavin did the rest of the pencils outside of this first page.
Was probably Werner Ross or something. I don't know. It's probably.
Yeah, they look like Green Army men. So funny.
It's such a wonderful Kirby page. I mean, you could probably just only take the X-Men and 2 soldiers or something, but no, Kirby. Let's do 20 soldiers. That would be good. I don't know other artists other than George Paris who would do such a page.
Yes. This is gorgeous. It is, bro. Oh, dude.
Okay, and here's the interesting thing. That's the surprise at the end. Magneto has been hiding. He has been gone from the series for like 10, 15 issues, and he's hiding in suburbia. And these fools are totally surprised. Oh, my new tenant, he's Magneto. Oh, look at this. This is exactly what Grant Morrison did with Zorn. This reveal at the end. Oh, Zorn has been Magneto all the time. That's the Grant Morrison one. A lot of this early stuff you can trace back to Morrison's run. And this is exactly what this is the reveal at the end of his run. Not really at the end, but once the reveal comes, Morrison's interesting run on the X-Men. We're not talking about Morrison.
He looks so menacing with that stare. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry that I knocked on your door.
The big eyes, the cold stare, the height, it makes him look, the angle makes him look so bigger. So
I love the way they called me Magneto. It's like, oh crap, I'm in trouble.
I mean, you're just shitting your pants when you see him like this.
Yo, looking like this. Listen, if I see some psycho, when I open the door, just call me Magneto, and he's dressed like this, I'm like, oh man, I'm in trouble.
Hey, by the way, how many people out there, when they first started reading comics, thought of him as Magneto?
I admit it.
I remember someone saying Magneto. It's like, why are you saying it like that for?
I mean,
Dark Side, Dark Seed. Which one is it too? That was another argument for a while.
I mean, we were in Germany. We were especially handicapped for the longest time. Me and my mate said "Red" for read because we didn't know it any different. Because there was no internet, you couldn't hear it like it was pronounced "read." We said, "Oh, red is red." Because it's double E. German pronounce it as one. It's red. Yeah. No, it's Reed. But okay, it's Reed Richards now.
Red Richards.
Interesting.
So he was Red Richards for a minute in Germany. Poor guy. Hey, Red. He would just walk by you like who the hell
another tie into Challenges of the Unknown.
Exactly. Oh yeah, definitely. Okay.
So we got this, and now we're gonna step into. Okay, wait. There is something here. We all know why Jack is called the King. But when you send me the imagery for this next individual, you call them the Ego. I'm curious. Why the Ego?
I will tell you in a minute, but let's go to the first slide.
This cover, man.
This is clearly not Neil Adams, because what you had was the book was going off the rails. Professor X was dead. The book was going nowhere. Roy Thomas was writing, and Werner was doing art, and it was not really a hot seller.
Okay.
And they were experimenting with the book. What can we do? And at that time, Steranko came to Marvel, and he also did 2 or 3 issues. I believe he did 2 issues of X-Men. Not very good. It's not his best art. They seem very rushed. But this cover is so iconic, I had to include it because this is the first appearance of Polaris. It's not really the first appearance, but it's the first cover appearance of Polaris.
But this is the most famous appearance, hands down.
Yeah. And for the longest time, for those who don't know this, she was billed as Magneto's daughter. And this is very interesting. And this is a very interesting dynamic we have here. And she was competing. We had Bobby Drake, Iceman, and Scott Summers' brother Alex. They were competing for her. I mean, there was no context because she was going with Alex, of course. But this is an interesting.
Hold on. Did you say Bobby Drake? But
yeah, exactly.
I know.
Things that change in the future, huh?
I'm just throwing
it out there.
The conversation.
Yeah, but remember him throwing that snowball. I mean, we already knew it. Kirby already knew it. I mean, we saw that gesture. Kirby already knew it. He planted it. But obviously, Bobby was a little bit.
Do you think Kirby planted it from then on?
I don't think so. No, I don't think Kirby was thinking in those dimensions.
Gotcha.
That was in the 60s, but you can say okay.
Continue. So you're thinking that maybe because of the angles that they used to draw him, they figure, he looks more to be on the other side of the team, if you will.
I think he was. First of all, it made sense because he was the youngest of the team, and he was a little bit the outsider of the team. And if you go through these issues here, and also the later issues. They're all written by Roy Thomas, and what Roy Thomas clearly does is he makes Bobby the little whiny guy who has no chance against handsome Alex Summers. It's a little bit in there. It's a sort of he's a little bit the fish out of water. He doesn't know how to really talk to Polaris.
Okay,
There's a little bit of that already in there.
He's the youngest brother. Like, he's the young one. Like, he's like, everyone else is more mature, and it's like they're treating him like a kid.
Yeah, exactly. And his powers are childish powers. He makes a snowman. I mean, this is very much kid stuff. And
he makes a snowman.
And really, what happens once Steranko gets to the book is that I mean, it's a lot more notable once Neil Adams comes to the book. But the thing is very much that you get the idea that this is very much the X-Men get very handsome all of a sudden. The same thing happens with the Legion of Superheroes. Once Dave Cockrum ironically gets on the book, everybody gets very handsome, very much more sexy.
We're getting there, no worries.
This is where it's going, and Bobby still sticks out. This is also an interesting page I included. This is the first art of Barry Smith on the X-Men.
Really?
Yeah.
This is Barry Smith. And
that's Barry Smith?
That is Barry Smith, very much influenced by Kirby. And the interesting thing is, when you go through the letter page, or letter pages here, there's a lot of people who say, oh God, bring Don Heck back, bring Werner Ross back, but this kid has no talent, he's horrible. It's so funny. And I mean, he drew this on a park bench. Because he went into Marvel, he came from England, he went into Marvel and said, okay, I can draw a little, can you give me a comic book to draw? Instead said, okay, you can draw the next issue of X-Men. And they said, I don't have anywhere to live. You can draw it on a park bench. And he drew it on a park bench. At least Legend has it.
Yeah, it definitely looks like not much effort was put into this, boy. Wow, because this is not the Barry Windsor Smith we all know. Eventually.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah, but you see, you say like there's not much effort done, but probably for him at that time, there probably was.
Yeah.
But I'm saying though, when you want to try and impress somebody on a book, bro, I mean, wow, this looks amateurish compared to what he wound up doing. I'm just saying.
But
it looked a super mini skirt. I mean, who was in that park bench that day with him?
Hold on, I'm just gonna say that, and I'm gonna bring this up a couple of other times with some of the other artists we're gonna see. It was like when you're starting out, like it's not unusual to not be aware of your own capabilities. Like everyone, like the amount of portfolios that I've seen where someone, it's like you're going like you know, I've asked it, like, you looking for work, and they're like, yeah, I want work. I'm looking for work. Yeah, can you hire me? I can do a book a month, and it's like they're clearly not ready to draw a comic book, and but we all do that. We all go through that stage of like, you think your artwork is better than it is until it's pointed out where your weaknesses are, and you learn and you develop. And one of the things that Barry was lucky is he got that issue. Like Barry got more than that job. Like Barry got, and from that he got other jobs with Marvel. And he built on that, and then eventually he got Conan, and
he changed his style. But this is also, I mean, talking about to impress the boss. I mean, the house style was still Kirby. That was the house style. This is very Kirby style. This is very much what came before. I mean, you
could tell he got some crackle right here.
I mean, take Steranko out of the equation. I mean, this is very much in the Werner Ross style. This is very much in the Kirby style, and this is very much what they were doing. And this is a continuation of what came before. And this is not so different. And of course, there was a lot of improvement, but this is always what you do. I mean, if you start dribbling a ball, you get better after 2 years. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean,
one thing that strikes me immediately was, bless you, how bad the right hand is.
Yeah.
You see that? Yeah. Bless you.
Bless you. Yes.
Sorry about that.
But this is also when I write. Sometimes I write in paragraphs, say, oh, that's a shit, and I look at this again and say, oh no, it's really the shit. And then I write it again and write it again, and 5 hours have passed, and I've written half a paragraph. This is what the bands do. They play and they say, okay, this sounds great, and then they go back to the track and say, oh no, this is all crap. Let's do it again. Yeah. But if you are a hungry guy looking for work, I mean, this is the best you can do in a limited time. And he was 17, 18 at that age. He did it on Conan, and I think with Conan, he was given the perfect character.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at his work on the Avengers, which I really like his early work on the Avengers, or on Daredevil, not very good, but interesting. And then with Conan, he could develop. And you can really see how he shed the the Kirby very early on. It
Yes.
looks very Kirby very early on. It doesn't really look very Kirby.
That's the whole thing, you know, that I picture in my mind as a Conan fan. Just seeing this early work is like, wow, it's night and day.
Well, if you look at
issue 24 with Red Sonja, I mean, it's the second appearance because she already is in 23.
23, yeah. Where she was dressed, folks. Red Sonja came onto the scene fully dressed, and she looked kick-ass. Why now with the bikini and chainmailers? I know that's for the cheesecake fans, but she doesn't need to be that. I wish they could kind of bring her back to where she was.
And I don't want to take away from what Frank Thorne did on the book on Red Sonja character, but still 24 is where it's at. That is the best Red Sonja for me always.
I got them both, of course.
Of course you do.
About Barry's work is that if you look at his X-Men work, if you look at the Daredevil work, while you can go like, oh, that, you know, you could say, well, it wasn't like up to scratch, was it? It wasn't like it wasn't as good as Gene Colan or anything. You can see in it, and you can see in his Avengers. You can see that he's obviously, he knows that Kirby is the name of the game, but also he's looking at Jim Steranko. He's playing with his layouts. He's playing with composition. He's playing with design. So he's you know, says that you can see, like, I think that's what was so interesting about those issues where clearly his drawing wasn't fantastic.
What's also interesting, what's very often forgotten is how innovative Gene Colan was. I mean, of the old guard artists, he was the most innovative artist. His work on Daredevil is so outstanding, and you see that Smith tried to copy that as well with his layouts, and it didn't really came together the way he wanted it. But that was not his game. Conan, that was where the work was. Okay, we come to the Ego. Why did I call him the Ego? I mean, this is an inside joke because I mailed these to Mr. L here, and I said Kirby the King, Neil Adams the Ego, and there's a special thing for Mr. Byrne as well, which will come up soon. Why the Ego? The Ego. Well, first of all, this is a redone cover. We shared this on Twitter. Dave shared this on Twitter a while back. This is the original cover was rejected by Martin Goodman, who was still the top honcho at Marvel at that time. He had still cover approval, and in the original cover, the X-Men are tied to the logo. And Martin Goodman said, "Well, basically, this is too innovative. The kids cannot see the logo. Kids are stupid. They will not know this is an X-Men book." Okay.
Well, no, I tell you, I'm kind of with Martin Goodman because one of the things that I like to see is I like to see the logo. I like to be able to read it. These were selling on a newsstand. They weren't in the direct sell market at this point. You weren't. You weren't going to your pull box. You didn't have a pull list somewhere for this. You only saw on the newsstand. So that white X-Men on with a black drop shadow and a red background would have stood out very well.
Exactly. And the interesting thing is I read an extensive interview with Neil Adams, 10 years ago about this run. And it's really interesting when you hear him talk about this run. It's really, I told Roy to do this. I told Tom to do this. It's all his show. It's really like,
he's always like that.
I came in, I made the X-Men great. What these 9 issues, what sums them up best is like if you know the John Byrne run on the Fantastic Four. John Byrne was doing Kirby the Greatest Hits. This is also Neil Adams doing X-Men the Greatest Hits. He's going back to the Savage Land. He's putting Magneto in here. He's pulling all these old stops in there, the Sentinels. This is very much the greatest hits of Kirby. That's why you can see how much Kirby was an influence.
I do want to say something here, though, because looking at this character's suit, why am I picturing Cyborg from DC? In that first iteration, right? Yeah,
it's interesting. He's Egyptian, by the way, and this is so interesting. That of course, they make him black. That's interesting.
Actually, what's also interesting is I'm looking at the figures around it. It doesn't look like Neil drew all those figures.
I don't think so. It's not such a good cover, by the way. It's really, but this is where it starts.
He probably had to crank it out in like 2 hours.
Exactly. Once we get to the interior art, this is where it's at. I mean, this is Tom Palmer and Neil Adams, and I mean, Tom Palmer is still hands down one of the best inkers in the business. And there's an issue I didn't include. Don Heck drew and Tom Palmer inked. It looks very much Neil Adams because I mean, Palmer's inks are so powerful. Don Heck doesn't stand a chance. I mean, it looks very much Neil Adams. And you see what's going on here. You have a much more dynamic page layout. You have talking heads on a television set, which became a staple at that time. You have very, very much movement. And this is not even one of his best layouts. We come to those later, where he's really experimenting a lot here. This is also what I was talking about. Look at how Scott looks here, how Jean looks. This is the X-Men becoming attractive here all of a sudden. They look like very good hits of the late 60s. This is 1969. This is they look all very fashionable. They look all very mod. This is very stylish. This is no longer Kirby from the influence from the 60s, early 60s. This is the new generation here.
You could tell too, because this Angel angle, I hate how the coloring looks, to be honest. But then you see it on this side view, and it's like, wow, that looks fire. What the hell?
Exactly.
What a difference.
Exactly.
That coloring probably would have looked a lot better on newsprint.
Yeah, that's Tom. By the way, that's also Tom Palmer, if I'm not mistaken, because Tom Palmer was also a colorist. If I'm not mistaken, it's also Tom Palmer coloring here. This is, of course, not the original coloring. But also look at how the Beast looked in that one shot. This is once again, you see how the Neil Adams style comes to the fore. I mean, so you see the last panel. This is very Neil Adams. This is very expressionistic. This is very, very much very handsome people, very much in a photorealistic style. But then you have these expressionistic little bursts there where he tells you so much with the expressions, which is not realistically drawn, but it is very much I tell you who this character is, and I tell you without words. And this is very much, and also future technology here. This is the son of the founder, of the guy who invented the Sentinels, and he's discovering he's a mutant. Oh, snap! Big problem.
Bro, Colonel Sanders makes a debut in Marvel Comics.
Yes. Where's the white suit? Where's the white suit?
Where's the chicken bucket, man? They gotta eat sometime. Well, before we continue, I just want to shout out W. Patrick Curry, Banfield Bob, Klep CX, Dave Johnson. A big hello to everyone watching.
Hi, team. Hi there, out there.
Hello, Dave Johnson in Florida. I wonder which Dave Johnson that is.
Yeah, I'm in Orlando, Dave.
Hey.
All right. But look at this. Amazing. The Colonel is beating this dude up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's notice. And because the guy tells him, look here, without this chain around your neck, the Sentinels will know what you are. And you are mutant. And this is so cool. This is so cool. Because his father gave him this chain to say, well, basically, this will protect you from the senses of the Sentinels. And he's such a brat that at the end he gets what he deserves.
But you see it there. When the other human removed your medallion, you forfeited that right and your life. Oh man, what a line, bro! You're done, son. Yeah. That's all that means.
That's Roy Thomas. Roy Thomas was really a great writer.
And look at these classic.
One of my favorite covers. This is the conclusion to the Sentinel saga. But is it? That's the interesting thing. What happens here? Look how cool the X-Men all of a sudden look.
Yeah, this panel right here. Wow.
Yeah, this is very cool. And all of a sudden,
I don't hate Neil. I just don't like his attitude. Sometimes when I've asked him questions coming from a press perspective, I've seen him in person. He comes off so standoffish. It's like you don't need to. I'm not a gossip rag, bro. We're lovers of comics.
Hey, I'll be honest.
He has the talent to back it up, but still, I mean, what's with the ego?
Yeah, and I think in all honesty, there's something we all suffer from a little bit, which is when you look back on things, you try to pull up those memories from 30, 40 years ago. Sometimes your memory sort of, maybe you've elevated, like what was a suggestion 40 years ago is now a demand, and they followed everything I said. It might have been like, how about we do this? And they went, oh yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. You collaborated, it's a collaboration. Anyway.
Yes. Yeah, we got some nice comments. Thank you.
Look at this. I got most of these books when they came out. I missed the one with the living monolith due to the distribution problems back then. Just a regular Oak letter 67. Wow, Dave, since 67. Wow, blessed,
fantastic.
Bro.
And we had Patrick Curry writing in. I've never seen the Polaris cover before. Yes, man, go find those issues. They're all reprinted. They get those old issues. This is the Neil Adams issues. They are so fantastic. I mean, you can talk about.
Oh my God! Look at that page.
This is a very interesting page because you can't read the caption box. I'll make it a little bit bigger for myself. It's basically saying, okay, because in the end, it's I believe Scott who tells the Sentinels to go into the sun, and that's what they do. And the caption basically says, "To the sun, they didn't make a ripple." It's such a fantastic line. I mean, this is, you can go there and look for the original quote, but this is such a great Roy Thomas line.
Yeah, but it's Roy Thomas, man, one of the greats. And I actually did get to meet him several years ago in a Connecticut convention. Would you believe his handler left him alone for 2 minutes? I was with my wife when I walked out of that panel, and I saw him standing there. I was like, babe, I'll be right back.
and here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. When you go to Avengers number 102, what happens? The Sentinels come out of the sun.
Oh,
this is how
they can't be melted, bro.
They came back. They came back and fight the Avengers. And this is such a great cool twist when the Sentinels come back. That's how the issue starts. It's such a great. You should have pulled that issue. Rich Buckler. That's such a great issue. Okay, this is really how Neil Adams really works best. You see, this is Sauron. It's the origin of Sauron, the dragon character. The name, of course, coming from Lord of the Rings, of course. Yes. It's very Lord of the Rings influence. But you see, this guy, he's a power vampire. He takes the life energy from people, apparently also from his dog, and he cannot touch his girlfriend. This is a very early play on Rogue, if you want. And this is very good. If you go to the next page, you see really how good Neil Adams is. Look at this page.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, this is really, really good. This is so good.
That's gorgeous. I mean, wow, bro. What a way to use technology to suck the power, bro. Look at this.
Look at those small panels in between.
Okay.
This is Steranko. This is Steranko and Neil Adams are really the best artists at that time at Marvel.
The question here is this. Because obviously we have a character that appeared in DC very much earlier. That's a nemesis of Superman and Parasite.
Exactly.
Who beat who here? Parasite.
Parasite came first.
Because what I'm saying is, even with the color scheme right here, made me think of Parasite.
Yeah,
interesting choice of colors to use for the same character.
Right?
Character.
Very. So over here, he has Alex Summers. Oh
no,
man.
that's not Alex Summers. That is. Oh yes, it's Alex Summers. You're right, because he's treating him. That's right.
Wow, he's trying to take Havoc's power then. I like Havoc as a character. It's just, I don't like the stories surrounded by him, but I love the look and the power set.
Yeah, the costume is very nice. I'm not really sure who created it. It's Steranko or Adams. I'm not sure who created the costume, but it's very cool. I think Neil Adams created that. And this is very interesting. I mean, this is the biggest legacy maybe of Neil Adams' run, because he is the first to show us Magneto without his helmet.
Oh, and really?
When you started this issue, you see this beyond the Savage Land. There's these freakish mutants. Angel is there too. You see him there, and there's this older guy with white hair. You don't know who he is. You read through the issue, you don't know who this guy is because you've never seen him before. And you go to the next page. That's the last page. Oh no, this is something else. Look at these mutants here. This is very much an influence on Jim Morrison again. If you think of characters like Beak, these freakish mutants in the Neverland, in the Savage Land, this is very much an influence on,
and this
on how
is the better
Angel
uniform right here.
Yes.
Thank God they changed the color scheme. He looks dope there.
Yes. And if you go to the next page, this is the reveal at the end.
Oh, nice reveal. Awesome.
And he has this great line. Oh, perhaps clothes do make the man.
Oh!
It's so on the nose, but it's so wonderful. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, you didn't have any previews. You didn't know Magneto was coming back, and you didn't go to the last page and you read this. Oh, who's this guy? And then look here. This is Magneto.
Hey, will the real Magneto please stand up?
But what's interesting,
so bloody cool.
What's interesting is if that reveal had been done today, they would have had to have found another reason to do it, because the audience, because
it would have been spoiled a month before it happened.
Well, the idea is like, what you mean? Like no one saw, like no one recognized his eyes, no one recognized his mouth.
Exactly.
From looking at
his
the helmet, his voice. You've fought this guy so many times, you're not going to recognize his face.
Yeah, but it worked back in the day. I mean,
great. These are characters from the 60s. There was a lot of good weed in the air, so I would blame it on the second on contact highs where they would remember. So let's go to another legend here then.
And I called him the cock because he called himself a cock in the wheel. It's
He
not
really
an
did.
insult. He really did. That's a quote from him. He called himself the cock in the wheel. Okay, we're coming to Dave. We're talking about Dave Cockrum also, but we shared. So this is my part here. This is John Byrne, and this is one of my favorite covers. This is introducing a very unfortunate storyline, as far as I'm concerned, because what Chris Claremont, who's the writer now, does, he splits the X-Men. They're fighting Magneto, and they are lost in a volcano explosion, and Jean and Beast believe the other X-Men dead, and vice versa. And the other X-Men are in the Savage Land, of course they are. And so you have this team split, and it doesn't make for great stories. I think the first part of the Byrne run, I mean, this is a great picture, of course. This is a little bit sexualizing, but it's also where we are in the 80s. Everything is getting a little more sexy here, and you have the perfect artists all of a sudden. You have John Byrne and Terry Austin here working together, great.
And in the story, we can't dismiss Chris Claremont, okay?
Yeah, of course not.
No, so
what's so interesting, what is really interesting here is two things. If you go back to the Neil Adams run, you think, oh, Neil Adams really kicked it for the X-Men. They really were selling. No, the X-Men got cancelled. The title was not really cancelled, but there were no new stories for the next 20, 30 issues. They were all reprints.
And reprints of the original releases.
Exactly. So basically, because they were not selling, they could still sell the reprints, but they were not paying new because they could reprint them at will. They were not paying the artists any royalties back then, as far as I know. So they just reprinted them, kept the X-Men title in circulation, kept the trademark going. But then Dave Cockrum and Len Wein happened. I think Dave will talk about this later. But this is after that. This is once the book is really selling, and then Byrne and Terry Austin come on the book, and it's really selling like hotcakes. What's so interesting about this is, we all know where this is going, the Dark Phoenix saga, but if you read my column about the horror magazines, and you read the column I wrote about Vampirella and Satana. Santana is a very early version of Dark Phoenix, because you have the Devil's Daughter, and the way Chris Claremont writes her is very much this dynamic between the good and the bad. And it's very, very much a precursor to this. And what's so interesting about Chris Claremont, he's originally from England, and his mother, she was really unhappy about the living circumstances in England after the war, and she said, "I want to eat a steak. Let's go to America." So she put the family, and she uprooted the family. The husband was present. That was not that there was no husband, but she was the boss, and she said, "Let's go to America," and that's what they did. And Chris Claremont was very much into strong women, and he was very much into magic, because he was married also to a vegan, and Viking. Probably he was a vegan too, but he was married to a Viking. He was married to a Viking, and he was very much into BDSM. He was into witchcraft. So this is here, Chris Claremont, where this is going. Yes, he was very much into this. He was into wife swapping. He was into the whole thing. You think of this older gentleman? No. He had an open relationship with his wife, and she certainly took advantage of this. He was her fourth husband.
I hope he did too. Damn.
I don't think so. Yes, and so we already get where this is going. So this is the beginning of Dark Phoenix. And what's so interesting here is we already see she cannot really handle there is something with the Phoenix Force. This is where the Hellfire Clubs really comes into the fore. They introduced them before, but this is
the
also
first Hellfire.
No, it's not the first. It's a little bit before, but this is where they go to recruit Kitty Pryde and Dazzler. And this is so interesting, because what this also is, if you look at this club, this is the Last Days of Disco.
It's a swingers club, man. Look at this. Right,
no, it's a very rundown disco club. You see shades of punk here. This is all very seedy.
Dude,
this is
that's
New
a naked
York.
woman right here.
That's New York.
I see nipples. I see nipples, folks.
That's the comic code is on this cover. It's the early 80s. You could do stuff like that. So this is getting very seedy. That's getting very dirty. And we're entering more or less into the Hellfire Club. Look at the first panel. This tells you a lot about where we are in the early 80s. This is possible. Today you couldn't probably do this anymore. And so this is also very angry Jean. And you see also a character we very like. That's Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
And then
shout out to Banff. Look, BAMF. Done.
Yes, yes. German character, by the way. Yeah, they make him look like the devil. Makes a lot of sense. Yes.
Are you insulted as a German?
Not at all. Not at all. Sometimes they make mistakes with the German, but that's part of the course. I mean, that's why I can do it in my book, because I speak that language. So, but that's if you go to the next one, we also have a showcase here for a character we really like. Yes, and look here down there, it's our friend Wolverine, because it's the time Wolverine really suddenly becomes very popular, and you can really tell why, because he's that savage beast, and you really see.
I'm just wondering how they went from his appearance in the Hulk to say, well, we want a new X-Men, let's throw him in there. Was that a first appearance, at least at that time? Again, I'm only a fan of Wolverine because I wasn't born when it was released, but you guys were, right? And buying it at the shops. I'm not trying to age, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Was he that popular after that?
I bought it at the time.
You did. Look at that. You see? So did Wolverine really blow up in popularity from the moment he showed up on the Hulk like that, or was it because of the X-Men?
No, I thought it was a cool character, and I was, it was one of those characters I thought, oh, it'd be cool if they used him somewhere else, like if he came back. But pretty much it was Giant Size X-Men #1 first, next appearance.
Yeah,
I think it's the Burn run, because also if you go to the next slide, you see how awesome he is. If you go to look at Wolverine in action here. This is Wolverine, and he's killing that dude. I mean, it's the 80s. He's killing that dude. Nobody talks about that. That's what he did.
Well, they did. I believe they went back later on and basically said that most of these guys are cyborgs or some BS like that.
That's not true. There's a page I didn't put here, because I looked at it. It's because it's very funny. It's basically it's Wolverine staring down this one dude. It says, well, basically, so we can do this two ways. I can kill you, or you can run away. And you see this guy, run away.
Even here though, come peaceably, little man, or in pieces. Your choice. I mean, really, you're gonna be tough. He goes, you want me, Bob? Then come and get me, son. Let's do it. And of course, Wolverine is gonna smash people. But there goes Madeline Pryor. Again,
exactly, and you see what she does here. You can imagine. You see it in his eyes.
That's Black
Her
Tom.
eyes. She's really This is Adam Wingard. This is Mastermind. That's Mastermind, and she's taking him out because she now knows that he has manipulated her the whole time. This is Dark Jean. I mean, she's not really fully Dark Phoenix yet, but she got manipulated in many directions. By the way, also her outfit is an influence. The Avengers, not the comic, but the TV series. Dave knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I know that.
Emma Peel. This is Emma Peel. This is taken from Dinah Rick's outfit from one of the episodes. I've seen the episode. I've seen the episode. It's very close.
Interesting.
I mean, I think it's interesting that if you read between the lines of that page and that sequence, and from the moment that Wingard kind of tried to sort of take control of her and Mastermind, there's an inference that something that the comics code would never let them say about actually occurred between them, which is probably why she's like so angry at him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they actually went back in they went back in the late 80s, where they had a backup where they alluded to that even stronger, where they said, okay, this happened here, and this is why she's so pissed.
Yeah, they remember it was the classic X-Men.
You hear what Dave says? He said in this story, they riffed Dirty Harry in this story with Wolverine's dialogue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That was the times. I mean, the Dirty Harry is a little bit earlier, but it's still, if you think about Charles Bronson, I mean, Death Wish, this is very much the same here.
Well, I
Classics, folks, you better tune in. If you like 80s stuff and you're not part of the cancel culture, if you're cancel culture, you're not going to like it.
I'm going to spoil a little bit something. A part of my book is set in the 80s. Yeah.
This is going to be great.
That's plug number 2 for your book so far. I'm counting.
Yes. There will be a third one. Wait for it. Okay.
So is this the first time of her in the red suit?
Well, hold on. I was just going to say, it's like that comment about Dirty Harry.
Yeah.
Just about, again, in comics, we've always seen that where someone sort of takes a well-known character and moves them into a superhero or sci-fi perspective. Like, you know, Judge Dredd is pretty much it's you know, Dirty Harry is the judge. You know, that's it. He's like the futuristic Pale Rider.
Now you got me wishing that Clint Eastwood did a Judge Dredd when he was younger.
Or Old Man Dredd.
Wow.
Old Man, I mean, right now though it'll be, you know, Ebenezer Dredd. I mean,
Unforgiven. I mean, that is kind of cool.
I love that movie.
Dredd Forgiven.
Yeah. but here, Dark Phoenix makes an appearance. And how do you show that your character is powerful? You have the Fantastic Four, you have Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, the Silver Surfer, all react to her. They all, there's something coming here. And this is
especially
very
Silver Surfer. Can it be? I sensed a kindred soul, he says. That means that somebody on his power dynamic exists. Insane, yo. Because you know, we all know Silver Surfer is an extremely powerful character, and just like a Superman type. People don't know how to use him. I think the cartoon made the best use of him, but it was mostly drama. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
also the plug there at the bottom of that panel is for John Byrne's Last Galactus story.
Epic Illustrated, that joint right there.
Yes. Frankie Ray. You see the similarities here.
Yeah.
That is very cool. That's very cool. And yeah, see how powerful she is. And this is not going to end well. We already know this. And
well, the creators didn't know it was going to be a particular moment.
Nope, they didn't. But it's basically she takes out the whole star system.
Dude, right here, look at this. These poor beings screaming for their lives. How dare she?
And I mean, there's a lot of references in there to that she achieves an orgasm here. This is basically her way of getting an orgasm.
She's also
Claremont really playing with themes here.
So let me just put it she's busting a lip there.
She's on a power level of Galactus because don't forget she's ravenous.
Yeah, well, she's sure the star system. God damn, bro. I mean, she could probably mess with Galactus, no, and eat him up. Jeez,
this is really something. I mean, this is unheard of in comics at that time. I mean, this is very close to the Galactus saga. I mean, this is on that level.
How dare people make fun of Superman moving on Earth when you have this lady eating up a star system? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, this is where it's at, and I mean, and then you have, of course, you have to rate it in a little bit because this is where it actually was intended to go. She's trying to find a way out of this, trying to come back, and Scott is there. You have the melodrama, of course, but Claremont does it very well, actually. And this is very much.
When it comes to X-Men writing, Claremont is definitely king when it comes to X-Men.
But do yourself a favor. I mean, if you're a fan of these stories, go back and check out the black and white old magazines where Claremont wrote Zatanna, the Devil's Daughter. This is 5 years earlier, his first attempt at this. This is very close, and this is very much the same here. She has this power. She wants to be a normal woman, but then she also has this power. It's very interesting. It's very cool, and it's very much the themes Claremont does very well, and he does very well from his own background because it's also. He had trouble in his marriage at that time. You can tell.
Gotcha.
So
you can't kill us because you love us and we love you. So there you see lines right there that could reflect to something in real life and some pain that he was throwing in there from himself. Yeah, crazy, bro. Crazy. Now look at this, bro.
And now we have Daddy is home and Professor X is putting his foot down. I mean, this is very much the patriarchy reasserting itself. This is Daddy coming home and saying, well, basically stop this girl. And this is also the coloring work is so interesting. The pink is so interesting.
Yeah, pink and yellow.
The pink is the girl's color, and Daddy is home and says, well, basically stop this nonsense now.
And yellow is the color of cowardice, is it not? Or fear.
Because he's the man who can't handle a woman like this. He says, well, basically put the devil back into the box. And this is basically what she's trying to do here.
In other terms, let's put this chick back in her place at the time. And you know, there is no place. Which, again, I would have loved to see this story come on now and see how crazy the Twitterverse would have gotten.
Yeah, but it's also an interesting story about basically a girl finding herself, and then it's the man will say, well, basically that's all fine and dandy and looks very sexy, but at the end of the day, your place is in the kitchen. I mean, this is basically where it's going, and this is not where the story ends, because she has to face a trial because she killed a solar system. The original plan was, okay, she's basically then she can go home and she loses her powers. And Jim Shooter, and you can think about Jim Shooter what you want, and I've changed my mind on Jim Shooter because I think Jim Shooter is very important.
So to the positive, you changed your mind.
Yeah, yes, I did. And I think Jim Shooter had very, very good instincts, and he told Claremont and Byrne, this is not how the story can end, because she more or less killed billions of human beings or alien beings, life forms, and well, basically she has to die, and this is how she dies. She commits suicide, which is unheard of in the comic book. And this is such a dramatic ending. It is much better than what I think the original version exists. That they finished the original version, it came out, but this is so powerful, and it's a little bit unfortunate that Byrne went back and brought her back, but. It's such a powerful ending, and it's a very cool image Dave sent me. This is a very cool splash page. This to end a little talk here on John Byrne. I mean, there's so much more to say about John Byrne, but we'll also talk more about Chris Claremont, I'm sure. And this is where I hand it over to Dave.
Wow, and this is an amazing splash. I mean, it's gorgeous, and look how vast the world of X-Men is in just this era.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
All of these characters aren't from the they're not all created or drawn for the first time by John Byrne. These are, you know, obviously they're not, but you know, it does show how, like we showed the similar image that John Byrne did of the Fantastic Four, which strangely enough was basically all of Jack Kirby characters.
I have a question though. Who's this?
Who's that?
Right here, where I'm circling.
Oh,
I haven't seen that character before.
They
had a black protagonist in.
I think
X-Men?
he also went up against Luke Cage.
Really?
Power
He
Man.
looks so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him before.
I'm trying to remember where he appeared first.
Very. And this perception of the Brood, which will now be the aliens, because you know that Marvel has those rights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Disney has those rights.
Well, Disney, yeah. But listen, they're already talking about putting the alien in the story. We're going to get a Predator story. Again, I feel bad for that Dark Horse lost those brands, but let's see how well they fit into the scope of the Marvel landscape. All right, so we're going to go into our next one. And Dave, I'll leave the floor to you. I got to step away to the little boys' room for a minute. But I'm going to leave you with the first page.
Give us the first image then.
Ooh!
Oh yes, iconic.
So this is the image. I mean, it's not here. It's been repurposed for the Essential X-Men book, but it was the giant size X-Men book. And you know, as Chris talked about earlier, so yes, there was a run. You know, X-Men, rather than cancel it, they filled it with reprints, and that sort of limped along for a while. And I think it just got to a stage where they, you know, we either do this or just cancel it. And I know we're so used to John Byrne and Chris Claremont and all those other creators that followed, but this was from the original creator of Wolverine and a creator whose contributions to Marvel and DC have been huge. Len Wein.
That looks very Legion, by the way. This is a very Legion-esque.
Well, don't forget. I mean, it was Dave Cockrum was a huge influence on the Legion of Superheroes.
I know,
massive influence. I mean, his costume designs. I mean, his run on Legion of Superheroes.
One of my favorite ones.
Yeah,
one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, and I think it was also because Dave Cockrum did something similar to the Legion, and that he did with the X-Men, which is created all new looks. Made, you know, with the Legion, he just made old characters look new. Here, he just came up with new characters with Len Wein.
And we have a very interesting, just a little side note, we have a very interesting foreshadowing, because if you go back to the original Superboy books, when Dave Cockrum left, there's an editor's note that basically sounds very much to what Tom DeFalco also said when the image artists left, because we will talk about the image artists later. It's very much the same. So Dave Cockrum has left DC Comics, he has left the Legion. Oh, the Legion made him a star. No, the Legion didn't make Dave Cockrum a star. Dave Cockrum made the Legion a star.
Yeah.
And this is the same when DeFalco said, well, basically, those artists go away, but the characters are what sells. No, Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane were selling books. I mean, this is really, still in the 70s, you see this thinking, our characters are where it's at, giving no credit to the creators. It's so interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny in a way that, like, if Dave Cockrum had stayed longer on this and hadn't left, maybe he would have come to got more of the superstar status that John Byrne would get.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, his contribution should not be ever overlooked. His character designs.
Look at
this.
Yeah, his character designs were amazing.
He carried some characters over he had intended for the Legion of Superheroes. I mean, Nightcrawler started as I think also Storm started as an original concept for the Legion.
Stop lying, really? These were meant. Wait, a Nightcrawler and a Storm almost made it onto DC as opposed to Marvel.
Yeah, and if you look at Timberwolf on the Legion, it's very, very much Wolverine in the proto stage.
I always thought that, and yet I also have a soft spot for Timberwolf because of that correlation.
Yeah, I have a soft spot for Lightless, but that's just me.
But look at this imagery here, man. I mean, there's definitely no iller artists in that era for this. This is fantastic. I mean, and I love the presentation of Aurora here. And just history-wise, it's funny how Aurora became kind of like the premier female black hero of Marvel, when she was only the second female hero from Marvel. The first one almost got no attention, which was Misty Knight.
But
this is the second African-American female superhero that actually rose to the top because of the popularity of X-Men.
But what's so interesting is that
was actually a good character.
But what's so interesting is that she's not the first black superhero. The first black superhero.
No.
The first black superhero came from our friend Sobrotsky with his magazines, because she was Butterfly, and she looks very much like Storm. Actually.
Oh, really? Butterfly? Really? I gotta look this up, man. No, wait. You're gonna make me stop pulling this up. What era was that?
That was the early 70s. Rich Buckler worked on the character too. I wrote in one of the columns about this.
Rich Buckler, the Butterfly, the first black superheroine in comics. Okay, let's. Oh, wow, she looks cool. Here we go. Oh, I think we have this image before. I see. Yeah, I've seen you share the image, but I just want to throw it into the chat. So
I talked about this in one of my columns. Yes.
Let me just show folks really quickly before you.
She appeared. If you wonder, she appeared in Skywalk magazines.
And that's it. That's the first black female superhero.
She looks more like Black Orchid.
She does, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She looks almost like a complete copy of Black Orchid, even down to those like the wings.
Yes, very true.
Love it though. Looks great, man. Good stuff. Thank goodness for those people that had that forbearance, if you will, to want to create further
and
those thigh-length boots that were popular at the time as well.
Exactly. And here's something very interesting, which will make you mad, because the co-founder of Skywalk, Mr. Waldman, who was a Jewish citizen, he told the artist, and Rich Buckler told that story. He told Rich Buckler, "Don't make the black characters look so black."
What?
We're just going to color them that way, okay?
So have them talk like Urkel, but even though
they'll all be tanned. Yeah, they're all tanned.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, but the interesting thing is she was going up against a Ku Klux Klan type of villainous organization, and the leader was a U.S. senator. They left that in the book.
Oh, really? Hey, man, listen, it's the truth, man. They exist in there, folks, even to this day.
They certainly do.
Oh, man. Look at this.
Oh yeah. Now this was like Dave Cockrum came back later and to do some covers, and he did.
What you mean later? So did he have a hiatus from Interiors to covers, and if so, how long was that?
Oh,
he took off, yeah.
Yeah, he took off. He was, I believe, he was over at DC.
Mm-hmm.
But he came back. But he just did a few fill-in issues. He did another second run. He did a couple of annuals. But just basically became a fill-in artist whenever, like for John.
Yeah, but let me say, for me, this was amazing at the time. You have a Canadian, you have an Indian, you have an African American, you have an Irishman, you have a Japanese, you got a German and a Russian. Talk about diversity.
I still think one of the worst things they did was kill Thunderbird off.
Off in the first issue, son.
Yes.
I know they brought his brother. I know they handed the man all over to his brother.
To Warpath.
But talk about the marketing concept, because the reason why the X-Men became international was because the president of Marvel at that time, I think it was already Terry Stewart, if I'm not mistaken, he said, well, basically we have a lot of international readers. We need to give them characters to identify with. Make the team international. That was the reason why they did this. And this is why we have these characters from all over the world, and why. So
it wasn't that they wanted to, but they just wanted to make sure they could pick the pockets of the international market. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, again, I think they were also at the same time. It was kind of the launch of Marvel Comics as a brand.
They rebranded Marvel
internationally, in publishing abroad.
Gotcha.
Yes, and it's also fair to say that the reason why Dave Cockrum left was because the book became a monthly book. It was a bi-monthly book, and he couldn't keep up with the schedule. And John Byrne could. And John Byrne did several books at the same time.
Anytime you say that, all I think back is the Kirby doing a book probably in a day. And it's talking about you have a month lead time and you're complaining, son?
Yeah, but look here. Byrne was doing 2 or 3 books at the same time. In a month.
That was later. That was when he came back. He was doing the Fantastic Four,
but he was also doing Marvel.
Then he did West Coast Avengers. Then he started.
He was also doing Marvel Team Up at the same time as he did X-Men, didn't he? Was it at the same time?
He only did a couple of issues of Marvel Team Up.
Man, look how badass his cover is. Thunderbird on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See now that's that. I wanted to include that because even though. Like the original, like the Giant Size X-Men cover, penciled by Gil Kane, but both were inked by Dave Cockrum. Dave Cockrum did such a beautiful job inking Gil Kane.
Yeah.
That looks drop dead gorgeous. Like
it's a poster right there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and they mesh very well together.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I have this, but I have the Pence issue of this. I have the UK variant.
Hey, printed at the same time.
I have the UK variant on this, and people don't want to buy it because it says Pence.
Yeah, I know. But still, this one's still penciled by Gil Kane and by Dave Cockrum.
It's all the same mess. Absolutely. It is a gorgeous cover, though. I couldn't help it. You know what I picked up the Pence edition for? Couple of years ago, you wouldn't believe it. $3.
Jesus.
In very fine condition.
I would still say to people, that, like, in a way, it's like buying a variant cover and there's less of them because they was printed at the same time and it's a variant. So it's a variant cover and there's less of them. So
I got it, folks. Check my eBay store if you want it. Oh my God, bro!
Very nice, very nice.
Oh, see, and now this goes back to Chris's comment about the snowmen. Right. Look at it.
Look at his carrot. Look at his carrot.
Oh my God!
Well, the thing I've tried to include in my selection was I've tried to get as many, like, when you see original pieces of artwork rather than just the printed page. And it's like it's nice here to where you can actually see that, like, the white's out that was used. Is
that white out?
yeah. When they've just corrected, like, made alterations and changed it to something. So,
but the only thing they messed up on is that anytime it disappears, isn't it supposed to smell like fart? Because their noses should have been crinkled. Like, damn. But this is a beautiful piece of art right here. I love it.
Yeah, and it's the 2 X-Men teams.
Exactly. You got the 2 different versions of the Cyclops, young, innocent Jean Grey, Phoenix.
Back then, it was the past and present X-Men teams. Now it's the past and past X-Men teams.
Mhm.
Wait, aren't they together now? Didn't they bring back the first generation into the?
Oh,
I hated that
yeah,
arc.
time travel.
I'm like, yeah.
Bendis did this, yeah. It caused a lot of
Like,
headaches.
why, bro? Why are you doing this, messing with continuity? I understand a lot of people not doing continuity because writers and creators make it so goddamn complicated.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's put their own stamp on it. Everyone's trying to put their own stamp on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at this gorgeous splash. This is a splash page.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very good.
This is the danger room, right? Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
No. This is the fight, basically.
Fighting robots. They're fighting robots.
Hint, it's not Professor X. So.
But what a page, bro.
But yeah, it was like 100th issue. Let's have the old X-Men versus the new X-Men.
What a page, bro.
Yeah.
And of course, Cyclops got to try and get that Storm, right? Because they
Now,
always battle for leadership, huh?
Yeah. Now, if you look at it, like some of Dave Cockrum's faces and side port profiles and stuff like that, I keep seeing like there's definitely a hint of Neil Adams in there.
Oh yeah,
some of that drawing. So
I'm pretty sure Neil was over his shoulder. Oh, look at this.
Look at this. Well, it probably would have been if he thought he was copying his work.
So why put this side by side here, Dave? Curious here.
Because I put those side by side because I was actually going to pull the other two out and just run with these two. So I forgot to take them out of the slides.
No worries. All right, but this is gorgeous.
But they're worth seeing again. I'm happy to see them again.
This is fantastic. Oh my God!
Now this was
oh shit! These
dudes
are like the Legion for real. Though.
They are.
Yeah, but it's also the Futurians is in there.
The Futurians.
Well, this is the last. This is the last issue Dave Cockrum did before John Byrne took over the following issue. And here's Dave Cockrum bringing in the Legion of Superheroes,
bro,
and making them canon in the Marvel universe.
Wait a minute, they allowed him to put them in a Marvel book?
Well, clearly they're not the Legion of Superheroes.
Understood, but that's Timberwolf right here. That what is the Colossal Boy? Right?
No, it's not. No,
damn,
you're mistaken.
This is so wild, bro. This is you just blew my mind with this, and then you got Gladiator leading among them to kind of throw you off.
Well, no, Gladiator is basically Superman with a mohawk.
Hey man, I rode with a mohawk. I had one many years ago. If I find those pictures, I will share them. My mohawk was tight.
I mean, there's that great Fantastic Four
I'm in
cover.
love with this page right now.
Yeah. Oh, there's that great Fantastic Four cover where you've got Gladiator holding the thing up on the front cover. He's just defeated the Fantastic Four. And he does, and he moves over to DC and he does exactly the same cover except with Superman. On a Superman cover. Exactly.
Check this out. Dave Johnson has a question. Is Wolfbird the only X-Man to stay dead?
That's a good question.
Well, they brought his brother in. I think there was. I keep seeing there's so many storylines over the years for X-Men, and I'm pretty sure they did try to bring him back because they, they're always trying to figure out ways and means to bring someone back if they think they're.
But didn't they? I mean, the question is, did some other X-Men die who stayed dead? Didn't Banshee die? Banshee died in the Ed Brubaker run. Did he come back, or is he still dead?
You lost me because I think one of the things, as I said earlier at the very outset, I'm an old fart. We're covering what I believe are the foundational legacy makers of the X-Men. Lots of people came on, have tweaked it, played with it, done stuff. This is the stuff, and I think a lot of the people that came later, in efforts to make something theirs, screwed with things that then the next creator would have to try to fix or undo again because it was.
Yes.
And so that I've always felt that there's a nice line, like it was like, okay, I think I can stop. I can stop rereading X-Men up to a certain point. I'm done.
Yeah, I think it makes sense maybe it makes sense to stop at when Claremont left the book, because everything after is very convoluted, very complicated. Because you had the very interesting thing is that you had one writer stay on this book for so long, so everything is very much one vision, and then afterwards it fragments very, very quickly.
Well, one of the things I'm going to talk about more as I should go through some of the other slides is like Chris. See, again, Dave Cockrum created Starjammers.
He did.
One of my
So
favorites.
he created
I love the Starjammers. He did.
Yeah.
So was it him working with the writer to say that this was going to be Cyclops' daddy?
I think so.
More than likely. I mean, they had to have known that when they were doing the strip, or it was like, or it could have been halfway through the comic. Hey, guess what? I've just got it. I want to make him like, you haven't drawn this page yet, have you? I want to make him Cyclops' dad. You know, it could have been.
Yeah.
How do you feel? How did you guys feel at the time for them to kind of say, okay, we didn't know too much of Cyclops' familial background in the original run up until this point? How did you feel that made sense?
Well, I kind of, if you look at the way that Corsair and the relationship between him and Scott Summers and the way that played out, it's not that dissimilar to what happened with Peter Quill and Star-Lord.
Okay.
It's the human who ends up having an alien or a father who's in space. Like obviously with Star-Lord, he had an alien dad, but with Scott Summers, it was his dad went into space and never came back.
Gotcha.
But I mean, I loved it. In fact, I pitched. There was a period when Chris Claremont was editorial director for Marvel just before they filed Chapter 11, and there was 2 projects I pitched to Chris Claremont. One of them was a Starjammers miniseries, and he liked both projects, and we were going to move further on them. And then, of course, they had they started shutting doors and kicking people out, and Chris went fairly early on. But I'd written
wait a minute, they kicked out Claremont early on, or he chose to leave?
Probably half a dozen on one, 6 of the other.
Holy crap. Wow.
But yeah, they brought him in. He was going to be more like an editorial director for Marvel.
Wow, what a boo-boo on their half, boy.
But I'd pitched them a 4-issue miniseries of Starjammers against Galactus.
Oh shit, nice.
It was fun. It would have been fun. It would have been fun. I thought it would have been fun.
Yeah, I see it.
Definitely.
Oh, and now we're gonna move on to your next pick right here.
Yeah.
Oh, fan favorite artist.
The incomparable Paul Smith. Let's see.
I really love Paul Smith.
So did he bring in Kitty?
No,
he was
Kitty,
that was Chris.
It was literally like John.
No. John Byrne. Exactly.
Yeah, it was almost like she entered and John Byrne left.
And if you don't know it, Kitty Pryde was the inspiration for Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. I will say he gives Aurora more shape. You know what I mean?
See, here's what I like. Here's why I like.
Look at this.
One of the reasons I like Paul Smith so much is you look at that shot. No characters are the same height. They all look. They've got different body shapes.
I thought the same.
Different personalities, and I know, like Paul Smith comes from an animation background, but dang, it's like his run, like his line work is deceptively simple, very clean. So at first, I remember looking at it going, do I really like this? Because I was so used to the John Byrne by Terry Austin and all those lines, you know, Terry Austin being like super like detail orientated and everything. But I look back and like, Paul Smith is the boss. I love his work. I always Google because him regularly because he does so many commissions for people. They pop up. He does these fantastic commissions, are absolutely gorgeous. And I just wish he was doing something like doing a decent project.
My God, look at this.
And to people who really, this is really gorgeous. To people who really liked his run on X-Men, and I really like his run on X-Men because this is what I bought off the newsstands back then.
Yeah.
Go check down the 4-part miniseries, The Golden Age from DC Comics. This is Paul Smith
but James
doing a very different style, but Gorgeous miniseries, fantastic series. Yes,
I got this book on sale, folks. If you want it, I got this one too.
I had this. I bought
I have
this.
it right now on sale.
That's probably one of the most reused images that Paul Smith's done for X-Men. Like the amount of times they've used that image on different covers. People have done homages to that piece. They put it on merchandise. They put it on T-shirts.
It's gorgeous.
Yes.
Look at Wolverine at his best with his claws out, and obviously the legendary Rogue. I mean, because she's an awesome character. She's such a broken character. I love her.
This is where Wolverine saves her life by allowing her to absorb his powers. And it's such a great story. That's so good.
She's such a great character. One of my first issues ever as a kid of X-Men was that cover where she looks like she's dying. Right before the 200s, like a 193 through 195, somewhere around there. That was my first. So she was one of the first X-Men other than Wolverine that I got introduced to.
That's 173 or 203.
I mean, the first issue I remember her being, I actively, I know it wasn't the first time I remember seeing her, but it was the Mike Golden Avengers annual.
That's the first I saw her, where she steals Miss Marvel's powers.
But it's not the first time I remember seeing her. But well, I mean, I'm sure I saw her before that, but that's the most memorable. If you said what's the earliest appearance you can remember, it would be that.
Okay, I'm going to tell you mine right now. It's actually 185. And I actually, if you believe it, bought this thing from the newsstands at the time. And I do have it still within my collection. Let me show it off. This was my very first introduction into the X-Men. And it was just the cover that struck me. That I said, I have to have this.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah. John Romita
That was my first X-Men comic. When I saw her and holding down Storm like that, and I flipped it out like, wow, this chick is badass. I had to have this comic.
And you had also had Barry Windsor Smith doing a few fill-in issues. That was a great one.
Well, we're going to talk about those in a minute. We're going to talk about those in a minute, Chris. Don't leap ahead.
Okay, sorry. I remember that one.
The Mariko stuff, man, when we start finally getting to know even more of what Wolverine is about.
Well, remember, I mean, this in a way led into the
Limited,
the Frank Miller miniseries with Chris Claremont, which was
I bought that, my brother, a friend of mine.
I had this too.
Shout out to 13 Crusader. He many years ago, at his local comic shop. This is when I still lived in New York. And he calls me from Boston. He goes, bro, I know you like Wolverine. This guy has the full OG limited series. He has 3 sets. And he's selling them for $20 a pop. But he had just left the store. He goes, do you think you want that? I'm like, bro, I need you to go back right now. Right now. And buy one of them. So me and my brother both got hooked up. And I told him, you better buy that set for yourself right now. Let me tell you, for $20, that turned into over a $350 collective speculative value. Let's just put it that way.
There you go. That's the retailer. That's the retailer's comment there. See?
Yeah, the retailer didn't know what he was selling at the time at the cost. And I'm like, I jumped all over it. This is why you don't do that to Al Mega, because if I see a deal, I'm jumping all over it.
Of course you would.
This is a gorgeous cover, though. And this is definitely what led into, minimizing the mystery behind Wolverine.
But it was a great background. It was like great backup, background story for Wolverine.
Absolutely. For Logan, yes.
Yeah.
Because obviously we got the historic run that went to 100 plus issues,
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah. And Alpha Flight, which also made its first appearance within the pages of X-Men.
Yeah. Now this 2-issue series.
You're throwing me back, bro. You guys, bro. You're making me feel like crying here, man. This is the stuff I remember picking up as a kid, son.
But I love I love that this was all tied into the annuals that Chris was doing with X-Men. So Loki's here, but Loki's in the X-Men annuals as well. So it's all tied in, all comes back, New Mutants, it all comes together. But this was like Paul Smith's art for this situation was like absolutely like awesome.
And is this the first time we see Pip without his headgear? Because look how bald he is. He reminds me of Chris with a goatee.
Oh, Puck.
I'm a bit taller and not so muscular.
You know, but this character here, she always drove me crazy. Rachel Summers.
That was the future timeline child of Scott and Jim.
Oh wait, so she no longer exists, Rachel?
Well, hold on.
She's from a different future.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, was she a future? I'm trying to remember now. Was she the daughter of Scott and Jean, or Scott and Madeline?
I believe it was Scott and Jean.
I think so too. And she figured large in Brubaker's one, which she didn't read, but I read, and she's very much the main character in that one. And Polaris and Alex are. Polaris and Alex are.
This is a great, gorgeous cover, and this is the way Loki should look all the time. Yeah. All right, that's Loki to me. That's what I grew up with.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Oh.
Great. That's a great picture.
Bro, do you own this page or something, bro? Because this is gorgeous.
I wish. Oh God, I wish.
He goes, I wish.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so 80s.
And does that, hi guys, miss me? Like you MFer.
Yeah.
God, no. Even Storm's like, no, Phoenix. God damn it. Not now. We don't need this stress.
Oozing with confidence. I really like that.
And, you know,
and you could tell this confidence. That's the skill of the artist. Look at that confidence in her face. Like, yeah, bitches, I'm back.
And outside of Barry Smith, Paul Smith drew Storm the best with that mohawk.
No relation, right? No relation between Paul Smith and Barry Smith, right?
No.
Okay. No. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Look at this.
Now, this was an unused cover.
Is this for the Mutant Massacre?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. It was?
The original cover, the actual cover they used was the shot that's a high shot looking down, and you see Angel with his wings up high.
Okay.
Yeah. Really forced perspective. I mean, beautiful shot, and in a way, as a design level, much better cover. But it's always worth seeing something that you might not have seen before.
No, but this is beautiful, and I think that this actually grabs much more emotion from the team. Like, oh my God, our teammate.
But if you go back and look at that cover, I should have actually included that cover as well. But you know, it should have been a nice side-by-side comparison as a sort of just as a lesson in, like, you know, it's
perspective.
Like that perspective, but also that more dramatic, like, you know, Angel alone. Not the team coming to his rescue. He's alone,
suffering.
He's suffering, wings upraised, pinned back.
Very Christ-like, if you will.
Of course.
Wow,
he's an angel.
Yes,
he is. Heaven's missing an angel.
Oh man, look at this page with such the truth about X.
Oh yeah, I had to include this.
It's so famous. It's so famous.
Yeah, I had to include this. Like this
is great. Professor Xavier is a jerk, son. Get him out of here.
That's Kitty Pryde for you. Absolutely.
Yes. Of course, a young rebellious young lady at the time, of course, doesn't like anyone telling her what to do.
Sean Cassidy paid homage to this in his one on X-Men.
But I think this is one of the reasons why I think Kitty was such a good character and so popular and so strong. Is she was feisty. She didn't take any BS from people. So yeah,
man, strong character for sure. Oh, God, this is that Brood story saga, right?
Yep.
I got the first appearance of the Brood, but I don't think I got this issue in there, unfortunately.
Yeah, they came over from Rogue Space Knight, didn't they?
No, you're thinking of the Dire Wraith.
The first appearance
the Dire Wraith. Oh yeah, you're right.
The Dire Wraith.
The Dire Wraith. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is gorgeous, bro. Look at this look of Iliandra right here. Wow. She looks so badass. Well, no wonder Professor X was all over her.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, for real, man. And even Colossus, I see a character like this, but damn, he's a character that's gone through some crazy storylines. You know, being stuck in the forum and the coma and all. Could you imagine?
Yeah, to be honest, it's like this is one of those reasons why, like, when I look back, I kind of like there's a lot of gaps I have mentally in comics where I've gone like, didn't like that storyline, didn't exist. I'm never going to read that again. So
That shit didn't happen.
I'm just going to skip right over that one.
Right. And over here, Rachel was a hound in Days of Future Past timeline. Rachel Summers. Yep. Oh, I remember that, man. Wasn't that through the Excalibur, like the Prestige format comic? The Warhounds and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Good stuff, man, back then. Again,
Yes,
good
Dave.
days. The good old, holy crap. Why are you doing this to me, Dave? Look at this. You're going to make me go buy this out right now?
This is actually the issue before the last one, but it's like, yeah, again, nice little side by side original artwork versus the printed cover.
What gorgeousness here. Holy shit. Simple page, but fantastic and to the point. Look at this.
Yep.
Wow, man. Scott has always had bad luck with chicks, huh?
Yeah.
He's not that. He's just written that way.
Yeah, he's written that way. Right.
I love this, yo. This is great. What was that? The Morlocks.
If you go straight to the next picture, see, that's the color version of the previous one. There you go.
What a difference, man.
But then let's go back to, now that was a great storyline.
Listen, again, this is the era where I'm finally, getting into X-Men. I did a whole run, and this whole run was there, of course, within the scope of what I was collecting at the time and reading and enjoying. Yeah, yo, anything with the Mutant Massacre, all that, Storm taking her on and becoming eventually leader of the Morlocks. I mean, all crazy stuff, man. And Dave Johnson says, look at this. Professor X was a player because he was secretly in love with Jean.
Oh, yes, I mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very, as Chris said earlier, he made it quite clear he had his eye on her from the very get-go.
So he was a pedo from the get then, because didn't she come in very young?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So Professor X is a pedo, but then comes an alien. He goes, oh, well, so let me be an alien pedo. Because how old was Leandra?
Yeah, he had a mutant pizza parlor in Washington.
A mutant pizza? I'm going to leave that one alone, folks. Yeah, but gorgeous pages. I mean, there it goes. That's
yeah.
Now that you can undersee, like, that's so strong. Like,
and folks, so this is definitely in New York City because there's a giant rat in the sewer. So yeah, this is definitely New York City.
Yeah, and that he's actually standing right next to the angel. He's that big.
You know what I'm saying? Jesus.
He should have had he should have a whole slice of pizza in his mouth.
Just like his buddy did in that famous video that was carrying the pizza up the steps in New York City. I mean, he had a whole slice. Who would drop a whole slice, folks? How dare you? You that had those butter hands. How dare you? You never drop a New York slice.
Well, they were probably throwing it out. It's probably end of the shift, end of day.
Bro, I'll eat an old slice. I don't give a crap. Man. Oh, wow. Yo, man, are you going to make me go? I swear to God, I'm going to go to this comic book supermarket that's about an hour from me in Florida. I'm about to start hitting 50-cent boxes to see if I find these covers. This is gorgeous, bro.
I remember buying those. That's the Metal Empire storyline.
You don't have them anymore, Chris?
No, I don't have them anymore. Unfortunately,
I used to have them. I used to have almost everything, and it's almost gone.
Yeah, I feel you, bro. Life, family, bills.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
But it helped.
I remember that.
It helped get my kids through college. So
you and me both, my brother. Folks, this is what I'm telling you. Don't let mama throw out your books. Save them.
But these two, it's an interesting. I wanted to show is. Look at the color choices, the way that it was such a strong piece of artwork, but made so much stronger by making all those blacks a color hold, and by keeping the black line on Scott and Madeline that made that really strong. So it really that cover really popped and just
there's a very mysterious appeal to it too. Like who is this guy? Why he's in his hand? I mean, what's going on here? This makes you want to buy the book. Like, what's going on?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think if you were
go start it back to the Burn issues I talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing I picked that up at the time, and And I looked at that and I was like, that's mastermind. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Beautiful, bro. Oh, and now we're gonna start jumping into the next legendary creator, Mr. John Romita Sr.
No,
folks.
Junior.
It's Junior?
It's
I should have put
Junior.
the Junior, bro.
No,
You
it's
didn't tell
Junior.
me how to put Junior in there.
Oh, come on. You didn't recognize. Oh,
Oh, yes. Well, I didn't look, bro.
man.
Folks, these guys give me about maybe 30 minutes before showtime with these images, all right?
No, you had at least 45.
Yeah, but then I have to do commentators' work as well. So, all right. And
Yeah,
it's John Romita
it's only 100 images.
Junior.
Go. Yes, that's Junior.
Yeah, we've got a lot more images to go.
This is a great play. Listen, for me, I have a love-hate relationship with Junior. Senior, I love you, bro. Junior, I have a love-hate because I feel that he could do better with particular characters. Like that Punisher run, he is made for Punisher.
But I think
There's other books, though, like what he's done recently with Superman, I think that was horrible.
No, I think
here's the thing. The way I see it, I think Junior is the better artist because he's more experimental. He's more experimental, but I like his father better. But he's very experimental. He's doing very interesting things. He's doing very interesting things.
I'm
but
not going to take away from Junior's skill. I can't draw on this level. I can't draw at all. So Junior does great, but I like Senior.
So here's the point. Here's one of the points why, like, yes, I included him, but what some of the things I wanted to talk about. Like, one of the things, like, because comics, like, again, with periodical sales are far lower now. Costs are more expensive because of that, because of the audience.
Yep.
The companies like Marvel and DC, they're not willing to give new artists a try. They've got to come in at their game. You got to prove yourself somewhere else. You're brought in at their game. John Romita Jr., probably partly because of who his dad was, he got the opportunity to work on the job, get paid for it, to become a better artist. If you look at his early work, like through even like Iron Man and stuff like that, you know, his artwork evolved tremendously. And I know he went to DC, but I would say all his best work has been at Marvel.
Yes.
And I think the reason you probably think his Punisher stuff is like that peak is I believe that's when he came off Daredevil.
Yes, and he started doing the Punisher Warzone.
Yeah, like his Daredevil stuff with Al Williamson inks and Ann Nocenti writing was I loved those. Even when I look back and like it was Daredevil versus Mephisto with Silver Surfer, still loved it. Still thought they were great. It was a great run. And actually, and mentioning Ann Nocenti, I think it's a really good point when you talk about the consistency of Marvel, how good the quality was, at least in the Chris Claremont days. You've got to talk about Louise Simonson and you've got to talk about Ann Nocenti.
Yes, they are leading ladies.
But you've got two really strong creative minds there for Chris Claremont to bounce off. And you know, coming from that background myself, having a really good, strong, creative editor for you to come and bounce your ideas off it's immense. It's fantastic. And you know, I was actually in the room with an interview where they were interviewing Ann Nocenti once, and she talked about how she would be there, and even sometimes when there was periods when she and Louise Simonson were working on the X books together, Chris would come in and they would literally spend all day talking about where X-Men was going to go for the next few months. They would go over particular issues, backgrounds, ideas, bouncing ideas around. So again, it's like, you know, and the other thing, and one of the other things I wanted to emphasize, because again, we're all looking, we're seeing all these images of artwork. We're not seeing pages of scripts up here. You know, Chris Claremont was definitely like Len Wein, Chris Claremont, you know, massive parts of X-Men's history. Yes.
We're going into artists here, folks, because I see a lot of people mention, "Oh, you can't, how you not going to do this for Claremont?" No, we're giving love to Claremont, folks.
Oh yeah,
Definitely. Yes,
Because
definitely.
if it wasn't for Claremont, we wouldn't have the X-Men that we have today.
But I think if you go back, if you look through his entire run, all of the best runs of X-Men, even when Claremont is on it the whole time, the best runs are where he's got a strong creative visual partner. Like John Byrne, clearly they plotted so many of those stories together. It was Marvel method.
Marvel.
People like Paul Smith, these are strong creators who have ideas, who bring ideas to the table, even in storytelling. And having the support of actually really good, solid editors who actually really know their craft and know what they're doing. And that is why it was so strong. And I think, and Chris Claremont admits himself that the weakness that when X-Men started to buckle under its own weight was, he himself admits that what he was trying to do is, when they kept saying, we want a Kitty Pryde miniseries, we want to have them have their own books, we want Wolverine to have his own books. He tried to do it all because he wanted it all under a unified vision, because he knew, as what actually happened, is when they started breaking them off and giving them to other creators, it fell apart. It's just like spaghetti. It's just like the storylines were spaghetti. And granted, he also admits there's a ton of storylines he never got round to ending.
I want to ask something here, though, because I'm seeing something particular here. I'm a fan of Saturday morning cartoons.
Right.
Is this the first appearance of Firestarter? Oops.
No. She, I believe, in a previous incarnation, appeared in the Invaders, and then
Invaders.
Yeah,
it's the same character. That's the same character.
I believe it's a related character.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's actually, she was created for Spidey Super Friends, or
the Amazing Friends. Spider-Man is Amazing Friends.
Yeah,
so that had her, and then Iceman and Spidey.
Yep. Yeah. And again, it's one of the things, like when Chris was talking about like the teen appeal of X-Men and Spider-Man and that connection, that thing of Iceman, Spider-Man, a Human Torch, those, I'm surprised, like we always had the Peter Parker sort of the Spider-Man, Johnny Storm, Human Torch connection, and then a few times we had the Human Torch Iceman connection. But I really felt like those three, like Iceman should have actually made more of a kinship and friendship with Spider-Man and Human Torch.
Insane. This is a gorgeous cover. Now, I want to ask something here that's going to go back to what Dave said. So, Thunderbird died many issues ago. And yet, on issue 193, we have him still on the cover here.
That's Warpath, I believe.
But Warpath, really? Wait, so this came out at the same time as New Mutants number 16. That's Warpath's first appearance. So was that around that time?
Oh, I'm
gonna mess with you guys. Yes, because Warpath's first appearance is New Mutants number 16. So was this released at that same time for us to say, yeah, this is in fact Warpath and not Thunderbird?
It probably was.
Hey,
this
Johnson,
was probably after. This would have probably been after. This would probably have been.
I think so too. It's a little bit later.
Okay.
Yeah, New Mutants were already in their run.
I got this one. Hell yeah, bro. Look at Magneto, man, looking like a fellow Puerto Rican or black man, in chains. Oh, man, and thank you for Dave Johnson. He goes, I'm thinking Spitfire. Easy to do because she has a similar look. So that could be Spitfire.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, no, Spitfire was, I believe Spitfire was from the Invaders, and Firebrand, I think she's Firebrand, that was from Spidey and...
Exactly. Spitfire was from the Invaders.
Yep.
But look at this classic cover. I mean, but the whole thing is, I hope those chains are plastic and not metal.
But to me, one of the most classic covers that John Romita Jr. did was actually the next one.
Oh, I have this one too. And I love that. Come mess with us. Make our day. Bro, I'm cool, bro. More Pound. Shout out to my More Pounders from 9 Trade, baby. More Pound would never mess with a crew like this because we know better. We be like, all right, you got it.
but as you can see, they're surrounding Kurt, who's clearly taken a beating.
So Kurt got beat up?
Yeah, if you can see, he's clearly
he only has one eye open.
Yep, and they're surrounding him, protecting him.
Like, go ahead, bro. You mess with one of the X-Men, you're messing with all of us.
Yep.
I love it. That was the More Pound. More Pound, folks, for you guys don't know, I grew up on Morgan Avenue in Brooklyn and Greenpoint. So our crew, we decided to call it the More Pound, if you will. So shout out to my crew. But yeah, man, we would not mess with cats like this, but we would do something like this. Like, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. So yeah, we were our own X-Men, if you will. This is great. But this is a classic cover, and I do have this.
Love the look on Storm's face. Very, very cool.
You know, there I'll give credit to Romita Jr. if he did this cover work, because this is absolutely gorgeous.
Yep.
And then you go look at you see the difference that I'm talking about. Look at his Wolverine here, because I'm all about those round edges and all. And when I see him here, I don't know, I feel he's squarish.
Well, don't forget, there he's inked by Klaus Janson, and in the previous ink, he's inked by
you think it's Klaus? So you think that the inking is where it's at, though, in order to kind of show off his artistic
but I think this is also a later period. So he's you know, that was an earlier cover. He's getting square. His drawing is more squared, but more chunky. If you know, it's compared to like some of his Daredevil stuff. It's like Daredevil it's got more squarish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Storm here. I mean, damn, man, Storm can look a lot better. So can Beast. For example, I don't mind the Cyclops, the Cap, the Wolvie, the Thing here. You know what I mean? Because I think he actually would be a great fit as a Thing artist. I mean, if we could bring back another Thing run like they had back in, what was it, in the late 70s, early 80s?
Oh, like the Secret Wars spinoff. Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. I mean, he does a great Nick Fury. But I feel there's certain characters that he just can't, that I just can't get appealed to. Like, this Wolverine looks great, but I would rather have this Wolverine. You know what I mean? And he looks like he's smoking a blunt, folks. That does not look like a cigar. I think Wolverine's smoking marijuana.
Well, it wouldn't have any effect on him anyway, would it?
You know, that's a shame, though, right? He would be spending his money for no reason. So Wolverine, don't smoke or do anything because it ain't gonna affect you. You're just throwing your money away. This is an iconic cover, though. Now, this again, it's like it's a hit or miss with me with JR, bro. But this is iconic.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like the see, just as a piece of black and white artwork, the like the black area, like bang, he's totally he's totally portioned off into that section there. Elektra's down below.
Yeah, man. Before she became Daredevil, now. Oh my God, I got this bad boy too.
See, this goes back to like again. This is a much earlier piece, but if you look, like it's
what a difference.
You know, it's. I mean, it's almost as though at this particular period, John Romita Jr. was drawing using action figures to go from.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well,
if you know what? But this was great, though. This is great looking to me. You see, because I feel that it's rounded. It doesn't feel squarish.
Oh, yeah. No, his artwork earlier on was a lot more rounded. You go back and look at his Iron Mans. Everything was more rounded. His earlier Spider-Mans was more rounded. I mean,
was he the one to help bring the Mohawk version of Storm into the universe? Who did that? Who brought the Mohawk?
I'm pretty sure that was Paul Smith.
Paul Smith did the Mohawk. Gotcha.
I'm pretty sure that was on his run.
And I love this, how Colossus just like, yeah, bro, Doom ain't shit. That bounces off me. I love that.
Yeah. Chances are it was probably a Doom bot at the end of the story, but
of course, because you know that X-Men would beat the crap out of Doom.
Yeah.
Oh man, iconic with Warlock, son.
Yeah.
iconic. I also do have that first appearance. And I found that for 50 cents, if you believe. Folks, please do not ignore 50-cent boxes and dollar boxes, the con. Take the time, throw your elbows out there like this. Make sure that people don't crowd you so you can get your boxes, and peep them. I found that first appearance for 50 cents. But this is an iconic cover, man. Also.
I wish that I like Marvel went back and had kept all their black and white essentials in print.
Oh, dude, man, I have all the Hulk up until the last print essential, and I love those because I love the Hulk. So that's kind of how I caught up to the OG run. Starting from the Tales to Astonish stuff, which was great.
Oh, yeah.
So it started with his run,
Ditko.
Tales to Astonish, and then obviously the refurbished run when Tales turned into Incredible Hulk.
Yep.
So it's like, dude, if you guys could get your hands on essentials. That is history making. Beautiful books, all black and white, absolutely gorgeous. I mean, if I could, I wish. I'm so angry, Dave. You're right, bro. Now you're making me feel, because I really wanted to finish the whole collection in the essential format, and now I'm stuck.
You'll find them eventually,
so sad, bro. I need to find more, but yes, holy shit, bro! I bought these X-Men Alpha Omega runs as soon as they came out back in the 90s, and I'm so sad I don't have them. Iconic storytelling. That was for me one of the first times that I experienced the X-Men in this whole different world. This was one of my first big events that I actually spent money on in the 90s.
See, I have to. So I pretty much stopped buying the X-Men with, I think, Age of Apocalypse.
Okay.
And I think that was, for me, it was like, it seemed like a good time to get off.
Why?
Well, I enjoyed so much of the previous books. I was getting tired. I was getting sort of fatigued over all the spin-offs, the tie-ins, and so many of them were so badly put together. Even though Chris Cohen might have written it, some of them looked like an entire 4-issue miniseries was drawn overnight.
That's fucked up.
And it was just forcing you to try and make you buy more books. And I was just like, you know what? Nothing that's out right now matches what I've already read. So
crazy.
It's time to start cutting.
So you didn't do this whole alternate world? I thought this was amazing stuff. I loved it. It was so different for the time and similar to what DC is doing now for future state folks. So you kind of get a grasp in your minds of what we're mentioning. When this series came out, basically the OG X-Men titles took a hiatus for X amount of time. So any X titles were not coming out anymore. It will replace with this whole different world, if you will, futurescape of what the X worlds could lead to. It went multiple issues for, what was it, 3 months, bro, or 4 months? If I remember correctly.
I just think, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I think that if every few years, Marvel just said, okay, right, so we're going to build up all our storylines finish in December. And then for the next 12 months, every single title takes place in a different Marvel universe, where these different things happen, and it's a closed run. So at the end of the year, it's all finished. Every title has 12 issues of that storyline, and then you could go back in and all the other titles, because you'd had that mental break of 12 months.
Gotcha.
You then start in on a fresh story, and not necessarily exactly where they left off, but it's the same world as before, but just start. So it gives you a fresh, you've taken a deep breath. It's like you've tried.
It's a reboot in a sense.
Well, it's not even a reboot. It just gives you a break. It just you're reading basically a giant Elseworlds saga.
Yeah. Oh, giant. Totally giant. Because this went through every title. We're talking about 4 or 5 titles a month for several months. We're talking about your expenditure probably by the end of this should have been about $250.
Yeah. If they did every single title in the Marvel universe an entire year, the entire universe is a 12-month run.
Yeah.
And here's the starting point for it. Here's the event that kicks off everything that's happening, and then everything ends at that point.
So I want to ask you, Dave, why you chose this page in particular with the Omega, not the Alpha?
Oh, because I like this one.
It's
impressive. It's just like it's, you know, again, it's when
is this Timberwolf again over here? What's going on?
Oh, do you know what? I actually don't know who anybody is behind there, with the exception of probably Rogue. But
Colossus, right? Because look, you could tell it's Colossus.
Kind of. I mean, I
he just has the bandana on, bro. He going gangster. It's the 90s.
But it's just it's actually it's the power, and he's still like he's in that chunky, like he's that chunky style that you like, the one where you don't really like, but you can see he's going in that direction, and it's and again I think
this was the start of the chunky style,
but it's also Klaus Janson inking it again. And it was funny. I was when we were putting this together.
Look at this. Look at this guy. He goes. He got Age of Apocalypse from the back issue bins when he came back in '95 after a 6-year absence in collecting. But he found them in back issue bins. Bro, crazy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dave Johnson, bro.
Cheers, man.
Good stuff, bro. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Okay, this is a beautiful page, Dave. So let's keep going here.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, what are you doing to me? You're gonna make me just want to pull out and read my old X-Men, you bastard, bro. Tonight's gonna be a long night.
Yeah, so I love this scene. Like, this is the scene where basically Wolverine's just stood back and let Colossus had the crap kicked out of him by Juggernaut. and the reason he didn't step in, the reason he wouldn't step in to help him, is because it's this whole point about when Kitty Pryde had put everything on the line and sacrificed so much for them. Peter never even said thank you.
And it says it there. It's like, yo, oh my God, bro. All right, let me just read this real through. So we go to the war for each other. Colossus says yes. Wolverine goes, we pay any price and make any sacrifice, our lives even, for honor. Colossus goes, yes. Wolverine says then, like Kitty did for you, she's 14, Peter, but to save you, she agreed to marry Caliban and join the Morlocks. If Caliban hadn't released her from that vow, she'd be there today. And you never even said thank you. Food for thought, eh? It's like, whoa, I hope I got the Canadian part right. Eh? You know what I mean? Like, yo, that is real talk, though.
Yeah.
That is some deep shit right there. I mean, wow, to have someone like, yo, you let me get fucked up. Yeah. Because you don't even say thank you to somebody that actually got more fucked up than you did.
But it also tells you a lot about Wolverine, where he's at. He's
a very honorable person, though.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Wolverine is honorable. That's the type of dude that you want in your corner to be a friend. Like, you know, it's like, all right, bro, I'm going to check you when you're wrong, and I'm going to celebrate you when you're right. But when you're wrong, you're going to deal with a price. Ain't that true? Yeah, yo, a shout out to Dwayne Scott. That's just the truth. That's real life, Dwayne, right? You need a homie like that to check you. That's some good stuff. This is real writing to me, though.
That's the samurai with a coat. He's a killer, but he has a coat.
Yeah, man, as it should. Oh, bro, look at this iconic image. Oh, fucking God. Yo, everybody talks shit about Cyclops. But let me tell you, man, most of the most iconic stories within the X-Men universe have involved Cyclops.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's always been the pivotal part of the team. But again,
look at what an iconic picture here.
But if you look
at the downfall of the movies. I mean, they never got Cyclops right.
Yeah, and they took the attention away from him. But if you look here, it's like it's almost got that, like, this is where, like, it's John Romita Jr., but he's doing that rounded, everything's rounded, it's like more realistic. It's almost like he's trying to do John Byrne.
I gotta answer the door real quick. Be right back.
Yes.
Yeah. So here he is. It's
very John Byrne. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you like literally, if you covered his head and you told me that was a John Byrne figure, I'd go like, yeah, it looks like kind of be. Yeah, it looks like it. But yeah. But again, like, you know, John Romita Jr. was, you know, he had that luxury, and again, you know, having a famous artist as a dad at Marvel doesn't hurt, but he got to learn his craft on the job. Right?
Yeah.
His style changed so much. He was doing
And
fill-ins.
we talked about Barry Smith earlier. I mean, Barry Windsor Smith earlier. I mean, this is the same. I mean, he got to learn. He got to develop.
Yeah, exactly. But when you have that allowance, you've got that support. But as we move on, like there's more and more artists, they've got to come in fully.
We're coming into Art Adams now, bro. I mean, I met him in person, and I remember that I believe it was one of my boys showed Art Adams an image of something from the past, and he affected Art Adams in a very emotional way. So let's get into art, man. Oh my God, I had this. I bought these off the shelf, and let me tell you, just from my personal experience here in the States, when this came out, I was actually put onto this by my aunt's, would you say cousin-in-law? Because that was her husband's cousin. And this kid, or man at the time, was a huge X-Men collector. Now, remember, I just told you, my first was the Rogue One, whatever. And I was kind of slowly getting into the X-Men universe, but I was still into Transformers, G.I. Joe comics, and a lot of the past stuff. I was getting a lot of Sergeant Furies and my horror comics. But when I saw him have this, he goes, Alex, have you ever seen this before? Bro, I fell in love. Thank you for including this, Dave, because this to me is one of the most iconic runs in my life.
Well, again, it was a great period in Marvel where, like, it was before they started, like, every character had to have his own miniseries or ongoing title, blah, 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 blah. And it was a great way for the people that had missed out on the beginnings of the new X-Men. It was a great way to reintroduce them and at the same time give new material, which gave Chris Claremont the chance to tell stories prior to when his run started, so he could affect your feelings about a story that he didn't write.
And again, to answer Dave Jansen's question, they brought him back for this Thunderbird, right?
and they didn't have proper reprint books back then. I mean, this is going back to the old teams and the old stories. This is great.
Well, don't forget Marvel. Don't forget Marvel was still at that point where, again, it's like a lot of when I'd been exposed first to Spider-Man as reprints in black and white in British comics. Then I started to pick up the comics, which were well into the 100 and teens. But then I started finding old copies of Marvel Tales, and so reprinting the Steve Ditko books.
Yes.
Eventually, I actually managed to get the original Steve Ditko books. But it was like seeing the Marvel Tales, seeing the reprints that they did, the annuals where they would have a new story and an old story at the back. And this was very much in that, well, you had the reprint at the front, but you had this new story by John Bolton at the back.
Yeah, right.
But look at this. This is gorgeous, bro.
But it's that cover is so classic. That first classic X-Men cover. So classic.
This kills me. This is when, for me, they were pushing Storm to the height of sexiness with the thigh high, you know what I mean, above the hips, and it's like, wow. She looked amazing. I mean, every character here looked amazing.
She looks sexy, but she looks regal as hell.
And
like,
very strong. Yes,
that's a queen right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I would be like, wow, but with my head down, like, oh my God, I don't know what to do if I mess with my like this in real life. But that's what I love, man. This comic book definitely. Look how powerful. Just no matter where you're from, that you look.
Yeah,
that they looked powerful, man. No matter what.
The only thing I don't like, you knew what you were talking about when you said where you look.
Yeah, bro. There's certain areas here, like Jesus Christ. Anyway, bro, look at my man over here, looking like Hugh Hefner, smoking out of a pipe. I mean, is that an Irish thing to smoke out of a pipe?
Yeah, well, can be, but you see, what I seen that more as. So look, you've got both him and Wolverine smoking, but see, Banshee's the old. He's outside of Wolverine. He's the oldest person there.
Yes.
And so remember, in the X-Men, there was that period where he was also a trainer and teacher for them. So he's at the back there, as a
Gotcha.
teacher would be, letting his pupils take the foreground.
But why make him a teacher? This, I don't know. How many, have they ever focused on the adventures of Banshee as he grew up where he lived to kind of get to that status of why he was invited to the X-Men? Have we ever had that full story?
Well, they did. They did an issue where I nearly included it, actually. There was
he's an iconic character within the mythos.
Well, they actually had Cyclops had the entire X-Men team, tried to take down Banshee, and Banshee defeated them all.
No way.
But it was because they all underestimated him.
Of course, because you only think. Listen, for me, this is the guy that screams. Like, I'm also, if I went in the mental capacity of a Wolverine, I'd be like, get out of here, yo.
But you see, every one of them underestimated him. And he makes the great point, once he's defeated them all and he's taken the flag and he's won, he actually points out, like, they're all talking about tricks. And he's going like, dude, I'm old enough that all of your new tricks are old to me.
Oh,
like I've learned all the new tricks so many times.
I gotcha. So, there ain't no new tricks. They ain't shit. I'm gonna get you anyway because you ain't anything.
Yeah,
and look at he was also an Interpol agent. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Dave Johnson. I think we gotta have you on here next time, Dave, as a guest to talk some X-Men with us. You're awesome. and Dwayne is like, damn. Shout out to Dwayne Scott.
Thank you for tuning in, by the way.
Absolutely. Yes. Iconic imagery here. Look, more iconic. Yes. I think there's no better artist for Nightcrawler than Art Adams, yo.
Mm-hmm.
I want him to do nothing but a Nightcrawler book because this guy is a monster. And now, in this era, are we still talking Thunderbird or is it now Warpath?
No, this is 1986. Right? This is all artwork, I believe, that appeared in like frontispiece pages for Classic X-Men.
Gotcha, bro. And look what Dwayne says here. Yes. He's learning. So I'm glad that we could hopefully, listen, this is the point of International Comic Crusaders. We dive into the past and hopefully pick out some gems and some knowledge because Dave over here has extensive knowledge working in the industry. And then Chris and I do come from uber ill fan perspective. So it's great to have a professional and fan perspectives of us, those of us that actually collected and bought with our own money back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So, gorgeous. Once again, oh my God, bro. Yo, God, Dave, you picked these pictures. You're going to make me go broke tonight.
Well, no, you now have all these images thanks to me. You don't need to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. I bought the first appearance of Long Shot in that mini series for like $5 at Robot Chicken Comics. Shout out to Robot Chicken Comics over in Bellingham, Massachusetts. One of my favorite comic book stores in the history of my life.
But I am going to go back again and talk about. I've talked a couple of times about how like other artists influence each other, and
you're so right, bro. They killed Thunderbird too early. I mean, look how dope he looked.
He would.
Yeah.
He should have been a leading man in the X-Men, not die in the second issue.
Yeah. Now they should have just found somebody else, like created someone new just to kill off. But he's
exactly do like the toys do. Oh my God! All right. Oh my God.
Well, these are the new. This is the new like. So one of the things that Art Adams does is, like a lot of artists, like Scott Campbell, Frank Cho, he started to do his own variant covers. So you can actually go to his website and buy his own variant covers that he's producing himself off Marvel titles. He's actually doing that regular cover for.
Look at this. Dave Johnson says his first X-Men comic was actually Banshee's first appearance. Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
He goes back, son. Good stuff, Dave. Good stuff, man. Listen, if you're by Orlando, hit me up, man. We got to hook up. This is fantastic. Yeah, man. I'm waiting to hook up with my fans and say hello. Oh, dude, bro. Iconic. Iconic here. Look at this. Jesus Christ, bro. Oh,
Now,
the Asgardian Wars, bro.
yeah, so this was the cover to the collection of the 2-issue run that Paul Smith did, plus the 2 annuals that Arthur Adams drew.
So we're getting about how many pages? At least 200?
Yeah, it's getting to about 200. Like, that is, I mean, that's one of my favorite trades of all time. Like, it was like
the uniform change here for Colossus. I see a change in the suit, if you will.
Well, it was like every month, every other month,
He just didn't know what the hell he wanted to wear. These Ruskies, man.
Hey, there's nothing wrong. Like, look at the Wasp. Why can't the guys have like outfit changes like the Wasp?
I got this one, man. The first appearance of the X-Babies.
That's it.
This is great. I got this one. And you see, this is funny. Introducing the newest X-Men long shot. No, folks, this is not the first appearance of Longshot.
No.
It was in the miniseries.
He's introduced into the X-Men.
Yeah, exactly. That's the right verbiage there. But they didn't put that there. So a lot of people picked this up mistakenly as the first appearance. Remember, it's the miniseries that you got to get here. But
now, the reason...
You mentioned before, and Nocenti.
Oh, yeah. Now, the reason I'm including so many of the Arthur Adams annuals and specials is that when we talk about legacy, like, you know, yes, Arthur Adams created Longshot. You know, the X-Babies were on his watch.
But did he create it, or he created it along with Nocenti, which wrote the book?
And Nocenti and Arthur Adams created Longshot. But the reason I wanted to include him is it's that longevity, like the material he produced, I still want to reread.
Yes.
That to me is that's longevity. That's like the quality and it's obviously Chris Claremont's work as well, but it was their contributions, their material that every now and again it's like, you know, the Asgardian Wars book, such a good run. You got to read that. It's always worth picking up and reading.
And folks, if you want this particular book, just visit Karma Crusaders on eBay. Bro, you're making me like sell stuff because I got stuff here that I already have on the store, which is amazing.
Oh, well,
I got this bad boy too, bro. What are you doing to me, bro?
But now they are the interesting thing. So this cover,
this is amazing.
This cover was inked by Walt Simonson.
Look, he agrees with me, Dave. I mean, he's going broke.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, Dwayne. If you reach out to Al privately, I'm sure he's going to give you a discount if you buy them all.
As a watcher, I will give you a discount. I promise, bro. You hit me up. I got some of these, so just hit me up. Say what you got, bro. I want them. I promise. As an ICC viewer, only exclusive to you, I will definitely give you a discount.
But if you look here. So it's interesting. Walt Simonson inked this.
Yes.
Arthur Adams and Walt became good friends. But what's interesting is if you go back and look at Longshot, look at his X-Men pages. If you look particularly at special effects, explosions, some sound effects, Al art was definitely influenced by Walt Simonson.
Oh, absolutely, man. Come on, man. You're going to make Storm the Goddess of Thunder in that era when Walt was doing Thor?
Oh, absolutely. But not just that. If you look at if you look at the way artists handle special effects, explosions, things like that, you know, a lot of people took from Walt Simonson. And,
absolutely. He's still a monster to this day with Ragnarok via IDW. Him and Louise are still smashing it.
Oh yeah, absolutely they are. But again, it's like there's nothing wrong with being influenced. Oh, I had this. See, this is. I love the original artwork. The one that was done originally.
The original is Mike Zeck, right?
Yeah. Arthur Adams doing his version of this cover.
Oh my God.
But I just had to include it. It was such an awesome piece.
And this is what I love. It's like you have adamantium versus vibranium, and you see what the effect right here is. It's like, yo, these are the two strongest metals in the Marvel universe going at it. That's what this is. This isn't Wolverine versus Captain America. This is vibranium versus adamantium.
Yep.
That's what this is about, and I love that. Like, who has a stronger metal, son? Or actually, who has the metal, if you will?
Test your metal.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah, man, this is
Nice,
great.
fun.
I mean, iconic. This to me is a Captain America with the chainmail and all. That's Wolverine to me with the savageness, and you see it, his teeth grinding and all. You know what I mean? This
Yeah, see,
is beauty.
see, I always love it. I always love it when Arthur does Captain America, he draws every single link on that chainmail.
As he should. That's Captain America, bro. I have the Mark Gruenwald run, which is that version of a Captain America, if you will.
Yeah.
Guys, please listen to me here. Those Mark Gruenwald Captain America books have tons of first appearances. On a speculative level, you can still get the... Listen, I found a complete run, you know, like from 200 to 250, and I bought them for 50 cents each. My boys are like, why are you buying Captain America? I'm like, yo, you know how many first apps on here? The first Vermin, the first D-Man, the first John Walker, the first The Captain, you know what I mean? The first Nomad. I mean, and that you got tons of shit. I even got the first Armin Zola, which I bought for $2.
Well, that was Jack Kirby's run.
That was Jack Kirby.
No, I'm just saying overall in the run, though.
But US,
that whole shit is like, you guys, please don't sleep on Captain America Volume 1.
And US Agent.
No.
Yeah, US Agent, John Walker, Falcon. I mean, the Captain America run is an iconic run. Don't sleep on it. Don't let people make you sleep on it just because it says Captain America. It's an iconic run with tons of characters, bro. You know, Flag Smasher, Serpent Society, Scourge. I mean, tons of stuff, bro. This is why you're bringing me up here with these memories. Thank you, Dave.
Oh, we should actually have a little ticker tape with all links to all the comics you're selling underneath.
You know, next time.
It's a shopping channel.
I'm not selling my captains, not yet, because they're not
a little hot click button. Buy now.
Only two left.
Yeah.
Bro. New Mutants, classics. So, that's real close to Burns' run on Cap. Let me see. Look, Dave Johnson knows what's up. Dave Johnson knows what's up. Yep. But bro, look at this imagery here. That's my
Burns'
New
run
Mutant.
with Roger Stern. Roger Stern, great writer. Now,
look at this iconic imagery here of the OG New Mutants, as they should be, even though the movie didn't quite represent them.
Well, I tell you, I mean, the person who I didn't pick images from, because I was thinking in my head, I'm thinking X-Men, and the only reason I thought about the New Mutants, brought New Mutants up, was because Arthur Adams had the storyline go over from X-Men into New Mutants on the Asgardian Wars.
Yes, but they are X-Men. They're the future X-Men.
Oh, they are.
Oh my God, bro!
A long shot. Hey. But the person I didn't pick any images from, who I guess in a way I should have done, was Bill Sienkiewicz.
Yeah.
Oh, Big Bill, man, for sure.
Yeah, because
but we should do a complete show on Bill's art. I mean, we keep that for that.
Bill's and Chris's New Mutants run.
Let me just say something here about Longshot, though. I heard about cross-eye, but I mean, this guy has fish eyes. If you notice the eyes. I mean, is that a lazy eye right there? I guess he ain't that lucky.
Yeah. See,
you got the Demon Bear Saga, nice, and a graphic, beautiful. Check that out.
Yeah. No, see, this run, it was, and again, I did like the, back into the New Mutant special again. This was. I love. There's. I think it's like there's a one page where Arthur Adams had Warlock turn into the USS Enterprise.
No, really? Yeah. And now he's looking like Starscream and shit.
And there's another panel where he actually has Warlock turn into Popeye.
Bro, this is a beautiful. Oh my God, yo! Look how gorgeous this cover is. Yo, this is the poster.
It was a wraparound cover.
This is beautiful, son. How is you got New Mutants messing around with that Guardian all the time? Crazy stuff, bro. Great era, man. Great era.
It was. I mean, it was just such a fantastic period.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, bro. This dude's art
Yeah.
just kills me.
Mm-hmm.
Kills me. I mean, here we have Sentinels, X-Men. We got, what was that?
Brotherhood of Evil
Freedom
Mutants.
Force?
Brotherhood of Evil. Mm-hmm.
Freedom Force. Wow, this is beautiful. Iconic, bro. Oh, and now we're going to get into who you were mentioning before.
Yeah,
Like you were saying that, you know, that early art, I wasn't feeling. To me, that wasn't Barry up until, of course, he hit, I think, Conan, and he hit his stride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get into Barry's ventures into X-Men.
Now Barry's.
Oh shit! I had this. I have this
Yeah.
too. You bastards! I have this too.
See, Barry, like Arthur Adams, didn't produce a massive volume of work in the grand scheme of things.
It was beautiful.
But everyone is worth having. Every
Yes.
single page they've ever drawn is worth having.
It was iconic.
Yes.
With Storm and Forge, this whole storyline, iconic.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this cover is fantastic. I always wish that there was like, I don't know if anyone ever did it, but this is one of those like moments where, yes, I would like a massive poster on my wall of that.
You also did the first part of that story, which was several issues earlier. I remember that one.
I believe that I have that cover as well, but I just preferred this one.
Oh, I see.
The first image.
Oh my god!
So good.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Barry Windsor Smith, BWS, folks. You better. If you don't know about him, you better start Wikipedia and start buying.
And read his Conan work.
Yes, Conan. That's where he really developed his style, I believe.
Well, this page could have been Conan, but it's not. It's Wolverine.
Yeah, man. Yo, listen, bro. This is why I like Conan. I mean, Wolverine too. He is a very Conan-ish character in a sense, you know. Instead of having a sword, though, the blades come out of his hands. You know what I mean? But it's beautiful. I have the first hardcover release of this. The first Marvel graphic novel of this being released after Marvel Comics. Yes. Oh my God, you got that shit sealed still?
Yep.
Oh my, yo, you did better than me. I had to open it, bro. Gorgeous. You got show it off to the fans. I'm gonna put you on the big screen. Hold on. Let me select you and make sure that you focus. Solo layout. Show that, folks. That's the first reprint of the Weapon X of the Marvel Comics Presents.
Yes.
That is famous. Listen, guys, if you could get this at your local shop, that first edition. Please do it immediately. Yeah. I mean, it's so worth it. It's gorgeous.
I mean, and then like when I talk about
shit, look at this.
This was a rejected cover, but they did this as, I believe Marvel actually published this like only like in the last few years as a special was a variant cover, and they
Remember the Jane Grey picture, Marvel Girl picture I showed you. This is from this issue. This is from this is the issue.
Yeah. How curvy is this?
X-Men 53. Yes, we talked about this.
I think this was actually I think it was actually drawn as originally possibly as a splash page, not a cover, but it's so they repurposed it as a special cover.
Black Star has fought everybody because Hulk beat the crap out of his ass. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh, bro,
I mean,
so
it's quite a limited character, really. Like,
but it's so Kirby-ish. This.
Oh, well, he was a Kirby character, of course.
Yeah, of course.
It was just gorgeous. Gorgeous, damn, bro, the king,
it's
bro.
Fun, though, isn't it?
If we could have anyone come back as a zombie, I want Jack Kirby to come back and draw.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! Shit, bro! Classic Claremont story, of course. Again, I just want to let everybody know we're really focusing on a lot of artists for sure.
Read the credits.
But we know that there is only one definitive writer.
Read the credits on this page. Chris Claremont story script. Barry Windsor Smith's story, art, and color. So this is what I mean. It's like all of the really memorable stuff, like. You know, Arthur Adams, Barry Windsor Smith, John Byrne, all of it, you know, Paul Smith, all of it was strong storytellers, and all of it worth keeping, all of it like worth going back to.
But, I mean, look at this. You start there, right? Then just look at this versus Lady Deathstrike.
Yep.
And doesn't he look at the last panel? Doesn't he look like Hugh Jackman?
He does.
He
He does. Before Hugh Jackman, yo.
Look, that looks very much like Hugh Jackman.
Yo, dude, you ain't lying. It's like Barry Windsor Smith birthed Hugh Jackman himself. And just look at this with the doctor, the story where he says, you know what, mother effer, I got you now. You ain't going to do this to me anymore.
Yep.
I mean, listen, folks, if you have not read this Marvel Presents comic, please get that graphic novel. I highly recommend this to read.
That was a very good.
Yeah, it's going to be. They're going to keep it in print forever.
And then look at this. That's how the cover looks. Although this is much more upgraded.
Well,
this is so Conan. This is so Conan.
Yeah, but this is. I mean, personally, like I selected this, but personally, I feel that this is over-colored. I think this is Richard Isanove who did the coloring on this one. Sort of almost painting over his inks, which just like Barry Smith's artwork does not need painting over. It's
gotcha.
But yeah, but this is the same image from the cover, but I think this was for the trade.
One thing I want to say though, we in this area, I'm not saying that I'm noticing this, but I just want to say it. But he must be having a short, very stubby, because you see nothing hanging down below. Paul Wolverine, no wonder he's short everywhere apparently.
Well, maybe he might have tucked it under his legs and up through his backside.
You can't tuck it this way, bro. You gotta hold it.
he's so big. He's got it swung between his legs and clenched between his buttocks.
Holy shit, bro! If that's the case, Wolverine, shout out to you. Holy shit! No wonder he's a ladies' man. All right, but this again, fantastic art. This must be much later after.
This is actually from a trading card.
Oh, it is. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's a trading card art.
And just look at this panel over here. Why this panel, Dave?
I just thought it was like, it was such a moving scene, like a child born that was stillborn. And it was just like, I think there was so much emotion in those life-death stories that he did. There was just so much emotion in them.
Oh, damn, man, to go through that pain of life and not be successful. Insane. Yeah, man, you can see the emotion in his face here. This is very well done. Oh my God.
Now
that BWS, man, he is. I just can't explain his art.
This is from Life Death 3, but Life Death 3 became Ad Astra in Africa, and it was no longer Storm Aurea. This is the second time that Barry Smith's drawn something for Marvel and then withdrawn it and not let them have it and turned it into something else.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, look at it. Like what Chris mentioned earlier, how Kirby was using characters in the scene and throwing them all up. I mean, look at Barry Windsor's usage of characters. Just look at this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't 20 characters. It's, wow, like 20, 30, 40 characters in here. Insane.
Yeah, and they're looking different.
Yes, each and every single one that goes to show and a testament to your artistic ability.
Oh, insane. Yeah, all dressed differently, all different tones.
This is beautiful. What a beautiful.
And it's a fantastic book. If you can get it, it's called Ad Astra in Africa. It's published by Fantagraphics.
Fantagraphics, folks. You heard that?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. And it was an expanded version of what was supposed to have been a Storm story. And he reworked it, drew extra pages. And the cool thing is, as you can see from all this beautiful pen work on this, it was actually printed in black and white. And once he realized it wasn't going to be colored, he went in and did extra hatching work, line work on it.
Oh, wait. So the book is only in black and white, not in color?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, my God. I would buy this in a heartbeat.
But it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Black and white artwork to me is the most beautiful when you can really accentuate the art without the colors. You know what I mean? You don't need color. You really don't. I'm not trying to dismiss colorists, but just saying that when it comes to this visual storytelling, I grew up on the Conan Savage Sword, which we all know was not in color. So, you just understand my perspective. Like, I know that for a fact we don't need color.
Oh
I
yeah,
grew up
no,
with
I've already placed an advance order for his monster book, Barry Smith's
Oh,
monster book.
nice. Good stuff.
which-
Shout out to PWS, man. And yep, same thing. Yo, Dwayne is like, yep, sure would, boy. He going in for it.
Well, the monster book from Barry Smith is also originally based on he started drawing a Hulk graphic novel, and
Oh, really?
and he didn't complete it. He and Marvel just disagreed on the storyline, and then he got really upset when they basically took some of his storyline and used it in a Hulk comic.
Of course they did, because that's the Stan Lee way. Probably at the Stan Lee during time, I would believe.
No, I don't think it was actually.
No? Okay, so
No,
sorry,
I think-
Stan. Rest in peace. Oh, don't turn
Yeah.
over in your grave.
I think it was actually more during the Jim Shooter time. But I don't think I wouldn't say whether it was who was responsible for using the storyline. I know it was an issue that was written by Bill Mantlo, but I'm not saying that Bill Mantlo did it himself or was asked to do it on behest of Marvel.
But that's a great shout there. A shout out to Bill Mantlo, man, legendary
Oh
creator.
miss his work a lot.
He was amazing. I know his brother tends to do a charity event every year.
Yep.
So hopefully this year it comes back. So please stay tuned so you could check out what's happening in that universe, because Barry Manilow definitely was amazing. And Dave Johnson, look, no color with all that is okay, but not so much what you see being published now, though. Do you agree with that? Do you think that the black and white is much more effective with the older style artwork as opposed to the new?
Well, I think like there's only certain artists, not every artist you can do that with. And I think that these days, today, there is a lot of artwork I'm seeing, and I'm not going to start pointing fingers at any particular company or artwork, but there's a lot of artwork where if you take the coloring away, it looks nothing. It looks like
exactly. It's the color. It's a colorist who's doing all the heavy lifting these days.
Yeah,
some art.
Yeah, and the colorist.
Well, that means that they need to get a lot more effing credit, if you ask me. Then.
Do you know what? There's some books I've seen where the colorist's name should really come before the penciler.
Oh, and there you go, folks. We're saying here, man, it's just the truth, man. So again, there are incredible artists, but when it comes to coloring, man, it's like right here, the way looking at this, you can tell they put their soul into that.
Absolutely.
Exactly. BWS. Agreed, Dwayne.
Yeah, Dwayne. Absolutely, mate. I mean, like you can see if you ever get a chance to get a copy of the book, every single page is like that. It's amazing. It's really, really worth getting.
Dwayne, I'm sorry, man. I hope wifey don't get mad at us for making you spend your check.
Well, hey, it's payday weekend, so hey, go ahead.
Man. Wherepa? And now you're gonna get it's a little bit more modern, if you will.
It's about the same time. Now remember, we are actually. I suppose, we're on our last two artists now. And
but Mark Silvestri has been a beast.
I just looked at the time.
Yeah, no worries, bro. I want to keep going.
It's 3 hours. I said it's 3 hours.
Yeah, seriously. So we're right. So now we're up to again. We're not. We're focusing a lot on artists, and I just want you guys to know, we know that Claremont was boss in this. We know this. So there's really no need to mention Claremont, because if you visit Comic Crusaders, my man Steve Stellers, aka Shadewing, has been doing fantastic articles on the Claremont era. So if you really want to dig into those thoughts, visit comiccrusaders.com, go to columns, and then we got the X-Men perspective by Shadewing. Amazing stuff that dives in hardcore into the Claremont universe. But again, our focus is on artists now, but we do know how important Claremont is, because I know people have mentioned this a couple of times in the chat. Again, we know how important Claremont is, but we want to just focus on this artistic ability right now.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
And, oh shit! Oh my god, you put this in there?
Yeah. So I have to So when this book came out, to be honest, I hated it.
Why? What made you hate it initially?
Well, it's one of those things. Like you know, it's like I like Star Trek and I like the X-Men. And it's a bit like saying, well, I like ice cream and I might like tomato ketchup, but I don't really want the two together.
Oh, ketchup and ice cream, bro. That's nasty, bro.
But I have to say, this piece of artwork is impressive, and I particularly liked that likeness for Captain Kirk. He drew a good Captain Kirk, and Mark Silvestri on a Star Trek book would have been absolutely awesome.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Silvestri is the boss, bro. For real. Silvestri is so talented, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love him. He's one of my favorite artists, for real. He's just so good, and I've met him in person. He's a very, very humble person, and I love how his wife is so proactive in promoting him.
Oh yeah,
she is amazing as well. So shout out to Miss Silvestri, because you really are a cheerleader for your man, yo. That's awesome.
Oh, she promotes him way more than he does.
Oh yeah, he does. He's so shy compared to her.
Yeah.
So Miss Silvestri, yo, shout out to you. I'm sorry, yo. I keep saying Miss Silvestri, but she has her own name. So what do you know her first name?
I
forgot. Oh my god, bro. She sent emails and like she follows us. I feel bad. But she's absolutely amazing. I'll figure it out. But yeah, she does her own thing too. But the fact that she promotes her husband as more than he does himself is amazing. But this is beautiful, bro. So yeah, oh my god. Again, Silvestri. Oh my god. See now, like Romita. Yeah, you can say what you want to say, bro. But for me, Silvestri is an effing monster. And look at Dave Johnson. I bought that. He bought that Star Trek X-Men from earlier.
Well, so did I. But I mean, I may not have liked it, but I still bought it.
Bro, was Silvestri the first one to put Beast in Beast mode on this level?
No, I think that Beast mode in that level was came out of the Grant Morrison run.
Exactly, I think so too.
Yeah, it was Frank Quitely's design.
Frank Quitely, yes.
The Beast mode. So, do you think that Beast mode for Beast hurt or improved the character, or stay the same?
I thought it was just different, just somebody else's take on it.
Stayed the same, but just different.
It made him look more like a cat, which I'd preferred. I probably ultimately would have preferred the original, gone back a bit.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
But you know, I don't feel strongly enough about the Beast to say that, like, oh, he's ruined it forever. I can't ever read it. No, nothing like that. No.
Gotcha. But he definitely does an ill Cyclops. Wolvie, I mean, everybody. Silvestri is so damn skilled. But I mean, and look at his Sentinel. My effing God.
Yeah. Now, this is inked by Joe Weems. Now, a reason I'm highlighting the inker is that, like, when Mark Silvestri was first drawing the X-Men, like when I think he was drawing Uncanny X-Men, and Jim Lee was drawing just the X-Men book. I always bought both of them. But I always felt that Jim Lee's art benefited from having Scott Williams ink him.
Oh, Scott Williams, bro, that's his partner in life, I think, period. Because he won't work without Scott.
Oh, yeah. So, Scott does a lot. Like, Scott puts in a lot of detail that wasn't there in the pencils. He's an amazing guy.
So do you think that, the inker is one of the most important aspects of the artwork after the actual artist?
Well, I think that if you look back on the X-Men now, Mark Silvestri had Dan Green inking him. Very good inker, very good artist actually in his own right. But I don't think he was. If someone like Joe Weems had inked Mark Silvestri at the same time that Scott Williams was inking Mark Silvestri, Jim Lee, I think that would have affected the success that Mark Silvestri had over, like, the fact that Jim Lee was given the new book rather than Mark Silvestri.
Oh, really?
I still to this day think, for me personally, again, it's just personal. I think Mark Silvestri is a better draftsman, better artist for me. than Jim Lee.
God, I think so. I love Mark.
Yes,
I mean, look
yes.
at this. Look at this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
Mark's. You know, and again, but he's got to have the right inker. Like, you know, Bat was very good with Mark Silvestri, but for me, again, like Joe Weems is like such a boss on Mark Silvestri's.
But dude,
artwork.
look at the definition on these characters here. Everything has definition. The muscle, even the cleavage here, the chin. It's like, this is insane.
Well, if you go back up and look at the couple of pages, the Joe Weems and the Bat pieces, the inked, and now go back down to the next image. Next one, that's it. Now that's Mark Silvestri inked by Dan Green. Now it's a fantastic composition.
Is that Mark's first cover?
Great cover. No, it's not his first cover, but
that shit is amazing, bro.
Now I look at that and I just think, wow, if someone like Joe Weems had inked that.
It's also very Conan influenced.
Oh yes, the old Boris cover on the tree. Yep.
Yeah, that just looks amazing. Amazing. I love it. Again, you know, when you go into these kind of religious type poses, if you will, because once again, this is like a Jesus pose on the cross, but with the X. Amazing. Holy crap, bro. Sinister.
Yeah, very well done.
Sinister. But this is from the Grant Morrison run.
I mean, but look at this Wolverine, bro. Look at just this grill, bro. Great work, man.
But I think that I think that run that Grant Morrison did that pulled Mark Silvestri back in, but with like some amazing inks on it, was like some of the best Mark Silvestri work I'd ever seen.
Yeah, but I mean, look at his mystique, man. She is gorgeous.
Yeah, very good.
I wonder if he modeled that after his wifey, because she's a very good-looking lady herself. Wow, amazing. Holy crap. And there we go. I know now everybody's feeling the cat beast, but you can't deny how awesome this cover looks. I mean, beautiful. New X-Men. This is beautiful. Morrison, Silvestri, kicking ass. And look at this page. Jesus Christ.
Now this was the great
X Factor X-Men here, kind of. Right, the X Factor.
Well, this was that moment when Jean Grey was back, but so was Madeline Pryor.
And of course, it's Wolverine against Jean, right? He tonguing her down. What a dirty bastard, yo.
Well, this is probably, I'm trying to remember one of the issues where he kisses her and then she slaps him.
Oh, where is this it? Because he's just grabbing her and she's like, look at her. She's like,
Well, she's not holding him. She's like,
she's not holding him, but she ain't stopping him.
Yeah, she ain't stopping him either.
That's Wolverine with the Canadian Mac moves. Check that out. That is a great cover, though. Holy crap, bro! What's this? This is gangster. Who's this?
Oh yeah, well that's the X-Men from Grant Morrison's run.
Really? Well, that was probably by the time that I stopped reading X-Men, so I have no idea who this bird dude is. Who is this?
Well, I think
that's Professor X's sister.
What?
Well, I think
that's Cassandra Nova.
If you ever get the chance, like if there's like some of the collections
right now.
Some of the collections from Grant Morrison's run usually like they can turn up. Like I think I picked up a set at a con for like they were like $3 each for the trade.
No, they worth it though. That's the key point.
But because you've got
Frank Whiteley's
lovely work by Mark Silvestri, and the great work by Frank Whiteley. So yes, they're worth getting even just for the artwork.
This is a very strange team for me.
Oh, it's a Grant Morrison team.
You can tell.
Like, who's this?
That's Cassandra Nova.
Yeah. And who's the bird guy?
He's big. Is he big? I think he's big, isn't he? Yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
Wow, this is very interesting. Okay, I'm not familiar with that. This is the era when I found girls and I dumped comic books for a little bit. You know, I became a ladies fan. I was like, I couldn't afford. Yo, salute to my boy over here. Wait a minute. I just want to put this on screen. I'm sorry, folks. I'm trying to figure out my screens because I added new ones.
Hey, Six Element.
Salute.
I just want to say, make sure to check out Six Element of Hip Hop, because the Six Element of Hip Hop is comic book. And you could see his live show every Monday at 6:30 p.m. on Full Blast Radio on YouTube. It's good stuff, man. He's a very talented individual. And Full Blast Radio, if you love hip hop, if you're not listening to Full Blast Radio with DJ Tiger, you are missing hip hop, okay? There ain't no better hip hop DJ. Anyway, we're talking about comics. Now, peep this. My God! Bro, that's Wolverine now, son. Look at this.
Yeah.
It's again very Conan.
Yeah, bro, but again, that's Wolverine, bro.
But this is going back. It's that dark, brooding, brutal.
Yes. And then look, you see the blades coming out of his hands, and it hurts him every time, because folks don't understand. Every time that Wolverine brings out his blades, it does hurt him. It has to cut through his muscle and his skin to protrude. So every time that he's got to let those out, he's in pain. Do you blame him for being angry?
Look at the muscle definition. It's crazy.
Exactly. Like, he's ready. Like, okay, bro, you made me take out the knives. You know, you would think, listen, at the end of the day, I think that Wolverine should have been Puerto Rican. He's playing with knives all day. Come on now. He shouldn't have been Canadian. He should have been a Puerto Rican. And I could say that because I'm Puerto Rican. You don't like it, send an email to Dave Elliott at comiccrusaders.com. And now look at this gorgeous cover of the new X-Men. Again, I think I really got to start digging into it, because this is a very unique looking team. Now, who's this individual sitting here?
Ooh.
To be honest, I can't remember. It's been so long since I've read these.
You see, this new X-Men stuff is like beyond me right now. Now you're teaching me.
It's very Grant Morrison. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but it's. I think, like, look, Grant Morrison.
Oh man, and look what happens here with Dave Johnson.
Yeah,
he quit during that era. Go figure.
His Batman was interesting.
See, I came back to reading X-Men for Grant Morrison's run, because I was hoping that, like, because again, like, the X-Men have been around for so long. It's such a twisted, convoluted history that, like, I wasn't willing to get my brain wrapped around. And Grant Morrison's the guy you usually bring in to sort of like try and do a reset of some kind.
Okay.
Of
some kind.
Of some kind. I mean, again, it's like I liked them, but I actually remember. Oh, what's his name? Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon did a run on X-Men.
I actually liked this one.
Yeah,
and right afterwards.
Yeah,
it built on the Morrison one, because you had Cassandra Nova there as well. It built on that one.
Definitely. Yeah. Let's keep going, because now we're getting to the end of it here, and then I want to mention just casual shout outs, because before we get into Jim, I want to say that Dwayne and Six Element Hip Hop feel that Jonathan Hickman is killing it big time lately, because he did House of X, Powers of X, Dawn of X, X of Swords. I don't know if you individuals are reading that, but Hickman has been having a very positive effect, apparently, on the X-Men universe. Any thoughts on that before we get into Jim?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, what I'd like to hear is any of you who've been reading the Hickman runs, I just want to ask you one question. Like, for someone who's...
How does it end?
No. When does it end? What I'd like to know is, like, from your perspective, like, if I haven't read the X-Men for a long time, and I started picking them up again from the Hickman books, do you think that I need to have been up on all the X-Men books up until that point, or is it actually a fresh start?
Oh, what a good question. So, Dwayne,
because I'm familiar. I mean, obviously, I'm familiar with the X-Men,
Yep.
As generally, but not like there's some utter drivel that's been published
in between.
Yeah, and it'd be nice to know, like, is it actually worth coming back to, and do I have to have read everything up to that stage, or can I just come in cold? But I know about the X-Men.
So Sixth Element said it brings you right into it without needing anything, and it's a very fresh start, and that's what he loves about it.
All right, well, Sixth Element, this is on you.
And even and the Wayne says is very fresh as well. So we got two people,
guys.
2 for 2.
Well, I'm going to try the first trade. Okay, so it's on you.
So you know what's going to happen then, Sixth Element and Dwayne. If Dave doesn't like it, please share with us your email so we can send you a bill for the trade paperback.
You've got to buy it off me. You've got to buy it off me.
He already has it.
No, I don't.
Yeah, and listen, this is the last moment before we get into Jim Lee. Dwayne said it's so fresh, he gives definitions mid-read.
Oh, okay. Cool. All
right. So let's check it out. And you know what? It seems that we have also Dwayne is gonna buy it. Sixth Element says you're gonna love House of X and Powers of X. So they're going with it. And it seems that Dave Johnson is gonna go and spend some money and purchase those. All right.
Wow. Okay. All right.
All right. So let's get into some Jim Lee, which is the era again that this for me I was still in high school. And I was going to Pete's Comics up in Lorimer Comics when this was coming out. And this is early 90s, multiple covers. So you know that I had to do it.
I was living in Kansas. Yay, at that time.
You lived in Kansas, Chris, at that time? Get out of here. But did you click your shoes and just go back to Germany magically?
Definitely.
Yep.
Because hell yeah, bro. I bounced out of Kansas like a mofo.
No,
this is an iconic cover, bro. And this was actually the first time I spent $4 on a book.
Well, again, it's like I've included it because it is so iconic. It is like probably the most seen X-Men image.
It is.
Yes.
I think so.
3 issues later, we have John Byrne writing.
3 issues later.
This is Chris Claremont. This is Chris Claremont leaving the X-Men.
Well,
but this was
and it showed, and it really did show.
Yeah.
I mean, this really though. This created so much hype in the 90s. I remember this vividly. This is the pre-Image days. This is before, they became the Image rock stars. This is what the last vestiges of the, before the Image jump off, if you will.
Yes.
And this is just iconic. There was not a comic book shop that you could not go to in New York on a new comic book day that didn't have a line picking up these new X-Men books for real.
And there was probably not a comic book store in New York that 3 months later didn't have a mountain of these in their back room.
Yes, bro.
They sold 7.3 million copies.
Oh, well, no. Well, it sold 7.3 million copies to
retailers. To retailers. Yes, I know. Yeah. That's true.
I'm sure. I'm pretty sure you can probably get this at cover price if you go to say like Mile High Comics or mycomicshop.com or any of, or probably even from Comics Crusaders. It's probably available at cover price or down
You're
there.
not going to get this. Listen, if anybody tries to charge you $10 for this book, I want you to turn them around physically and just kick them in the ass because that's bullshit.
Kick them in the ass because they're trying to up yours. So
exactly. It's not worth it yet. There was too many copies released. It's definitely not on that scale of collectability, if you will, on the speculative side of things. So ignore this. It was only several issues maybe after this that you could find the collectible value due to the amount of print, because after the first issue, of course, you get less of a print run based on popularity.
I actually think that this comic might have retained some of its value or some value.
Depends on the cover. Because again, we had 5 covers and then we had the fold-out full spread.
Hold on. If Chris Claremont had stayed on the title and Jim Lee wrote what he drew, drew what he wrote.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
See, here's so much I don't mind that Beast version. Jim Lee knew how to do that.
Oh yeah, no, he looked great. I mean,
his Wolverine was insane. Everything on this page is gorgeous. Jim Lee is a goddamn whiz. on
Oh, yeah.
design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
No, as the next images will show, it's like, you know, it's like
Oh my
great
God.
artist.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is this image was drawn before that cover.
Oh,
But-
really? So this is kind of the promo imagery?
No, it wasn't promo, but it was done as probably as a promo piece. But
Is this still Thunderbird or is this Warpath now?
that's probably Warpath. There's obviously it's the
Oh,
Walt
I see. Yeah,
Simonson.
there you go.
It's
Cannonball.
the Walt Simonson X-Men. It's you know the X Factor from Peter David's run. You got Cable there.
Mm-hmm.
But now take a look for a second. If you look at particularly Captain Britain, and then you go down to like Rachel,
Mm-hmm.
you can really see where Jim Lee used to trace off Arthur Adams.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, and it's once I pointed that out, and you go back through that time period, you can see all the Arthur Adams influence on Jim Lee.
Well, as it should be. What a better, you know, that's
Oh.
dude. That's an amazing
Yeah.
artist to get influence from.
But but again, I think what you've got to again for those artists out there, like again, don't be scared to look at artists' work.
They couldn't.
Mick Kitten. Holy shit, Reno, you just killed it. Mick Kitten.
Right.
Good one.
Bring both beasts back. Have two beasts back and one's McKitten.
Yeah, man, it's Mick Kitten. Bro, that sounds like that hamburger that's gonna come out soon, based out of cat meat from McDonald's. Watch out, folks.
Yeah. Now the next piece.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
yo, this is one of my
very
favorite covers
famous.
ever, bro.
Very famous. Very famous.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what though? Is the Black Widow Spider-Man or something? Look at this.
Mm-hmm.
I understand it's a Black Widow Spider, folks, but I'm just saying, look at that. Look at the design.
Frank Miller did this. That's the Frank Miller design.
Bro, when I saw this cover, I almost shit in my pants at the comic shop. This was amazing.
Yep.
This was amazing. Yo, Jim Lee does an amazing effing Captain America. I mean, compared to the turkey breast Captain America that Rob Liefeld tried to do during He Was Born.
Let's not go there because that's an endless pit. That's an endless pit from which we can never come out of.
No more. Everybody know. It's just so funny. My man Cooks24 that interviewed me apparently just posted that cover because he just bought it. So good for Cooks, man. I hope you enjoy that comic book. Holy shit, bro. Now, listen, you're not going to get interiors like this nowadays. Facts. No. Look how beautiful this is. This is fucking gorgeous, bro.
Yes.
Oh, my God. Jim Lee, again, when Jim Lee comes out on time, he does amazing effing work, yo. He is an amazing artist, for real. This is a beautiful page.
But again, like it's interesting here and in the next pages, you can see influences like even like again. You can like if the back at the previous page, you can actually see, particularly in the lines and rendering work, he was influenced by Rob Liefeld. Here,
at least he knows how to draw feet, though. I mean, look, you can see a foot. That cable has a foot, not a spear.
So, but again, like. If you look at Miss Marvel, like in that second panel, like you could have said like Walt Simonson had penciled that for him to ink, because again it's
definitely very Walt Simonish here.
And I will point, and I will say something as well. It's like I know, like you know, Rob Liefeld does have his critics. However, Sixth Element with you. However, if you go back and look at there's the X Factor issues that Rob Liefeld did the layouts for Mike Mignola.
Oh, that's different though. You got two artists that, you know, very
Rob
different.
Rob Liefeld's layouts were great.
Really?
And,
even with the feet?
No, his layouts. He did the layouts for Mike Mignola. So again, it was just not fully drawing.
Oh, I'm not going to shit on Rob.
He did breakdowns. He just did breakdowns, but they were his breakdowns were great. His sense of storytelling can be also very good.
Yes.
However,
I'm not going to shit on Rob. I F around. I think Rob is a great artist. He just has his moments. It's like any artist does.
in his final execution, if he's doing the art himself, maybe a little bit wanting. But let's move it.
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah, Dwayne. Yes, absolutely, man.
Yes.
But let's go to Sixth Element Institute. Rob and Jim were both rock stars.
Yeah.
I went to that,
Yeah.
guys. So you know my history. Again, I've been collecting comics for a minute, and I went to that first New York Comic Con during the Image Revolution that happened at the Pennsylvania Hotel, and I met all of them in that first year of Image.
Was that the Fred Greenberg convention?
I don't know if it was Fred Greenberg, but if it was at the Pennsylvania Hotel,
Pennsylvania,
when they
by Madison
just
Square
broke
Garden.
up for Marvel.
By Pennsylvania, by the Madison Square Garden.
Yes, across the street.
I think I was there.
You were there. Oh man, I wish I could have seen. Maybe I saw your ass, but I was just a collector then. I wasn't Comic Crusaders, and I wasn't Almega. I was just Alexander Perez, comic book nerd.
Yeah,
But now I'm Almega.
We were setting up at the show, and it was hell because of everyone wanted to just buy, like, go to the Image books.
Oh, bro, I took remember when the comic cards were coming out? I had the Jim Lee drawn cable hologram card, but Jim Lee was so busy that I went to Rob Liefeld. I said, "Can you sign this card?" He goes, "But I didn't draw this." But I said, "You're Cable's daddy. I have that card." And he goes, "You know what? That makes sense." He says to me, and he signed it. I have that card. I'll show it off in the next time. He signed it for me. He goes, "I didn't draw it, but you know what? You're right. I am his father." No, great. I got that card. That was my first experience with Rob Liefeld, which was amazing.
Yeah,
cool.
And look at these, though. The Extinction Agenda. What a storyline to fucking talk about here, bro. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, again, classic stories. You have Storm. Is that Storm? Wait, or that Kitty?
No, that's not. That's the main figure. The Marvel Girl.
Oh,
that's
Marvel.
been great. That's been great.
Oh my God!
And it's a young Storm. Oh, that one. Yeah.
Bro. I mean, there's no better. I love Mark Silvestri on the Wolverine run classic back in the day, but bro, I'm telling you, man, I wish Jim Lee did a Wolverine book. I know we probably would have come out every 2 months, but still.
My favorite run probably on Wolverine was the very first year with it was John Buscema inked by Al Williamson.
Oh, but bro, you're talking two legends there, Big John, and then you got Big Al.
Oh yeah, but that was and if you've got the black and white, if you've got the Wolverine Essentials book, that's in black and white, and it's stunning.
Well, it looks like this is the last imagery that we have for today. Wow, bro, we did it! Oh my God, we went through it. We did more. Again, folks, we know that Claremont had an effect. You guys know that Claremont had an effect.
Oh,
but we needed to bypass
Definitely.
that and just kind of really focus on the artistic ventures because, again, while comic books
it wasn't actually
art, but we need a very visual venture.
No, actually, I don't think it was about the art. I mean, yes, obviously, it's the imagery we put up. But what I wanted to get across, I guess, more from my perspective was there's certain artists who, like Jim Lee, very flashy, great artwork, like those great covers. But there's not a single run on his books that I would say, I've got to read that again. That's fantastic. But all the Arthur Adams annuals, specials, all great to reread, read again. Paul Smith, great stuff. Read again.
Right. So let me put it in
the John Byrne, Chris Claremont, the Len Wein, Dave Cockrum run that led into that. So that's kind of a whole run in itself. Len Wein, Dave Cockrum.
Let me put this to my hip-hop heads and real talk. Go roll a fat blunt. Go ahead and pick up an Essential X-Men with the people we just spoke about. And let me tell you that you're probably going to smoke 3 to 4 blunts because you will not be able to put down that book. Not just because of the story, but it's the art and everything. It is cinema in written form. It is beautiful. It is fantastic. It makes sense. It doesn't feel forced. They bring messaging and stories in a way that doesn't feel like nowadays, where they're trying to preach to you. Back then, it was just about the fun and really using imagination. I really think that you guys really need to take a step back. If you're not enjoying what you're getting now outside of the Hickman, please check back everything that we at ICC just spoke about today. I mean, it's up to you to determine who the best is. You may have a favorite genre. I mean, Sixth Element, Dwayne, Dave, what do you guys think? You know, in regards to who is the best or who was the best? Dave, you know, I mean, I want to hear,
really,
like, in your opinion, collectors.
No, it's really difficult because, I mean, it's so there's so much good material, and over a certain amount of period. What we wanted to do is, I think, at least from my perspective, what we wanted to do is bring your attention maybe to some of the older material you might not be familiar with,
and I think
realize who the founding fathers, who built the pillars.
Yes.
That what you're reading now is built on. Like, you know, Hickman may be doing a great run now, but nothing would have been available. Like, without Jack Kirby, without Stan Lee, without Roy Thomas, without Chris Claremont, without Len Wein, without Dave Cockrum, without John Byrne. I mean, all of these guys, Arthur Adams, that, you know, Barry Smith. Barry Smith is a fantastic storyteller and writer in his own right. So these are all legends who have built this house, and some of these pillars are stronger and better than others. And it's something that when I stopped buying the X-Men, when I felt that I wasn't getting that anymore on a consistent level. Like, you know, I found that the gaps between a really good storyline and the next good storyline, or even just a good annual, were getting further and further apart.
Way further.
So I just stopped buying. And, you know, I'd come back occasionally. I tried the Joss Whedon run and the Grant Morrison run, and they were okay. But then again, it was kind of started to get lost again, because then all of a sudden, like, after Joss Whedon,
give me a minute, I gotta let the wife in. Hold on.
All right, man. Or out. She locked her in the cupboard again. It's just, you know, it was the consistency there wasn't enough for me to keep reading. So, but and again, it's like when you try dipping back in and you don't know what's going on anymore, it's difficult. So I will try the Hickman. I'll try the Hickman material. I'll give it because I haven't read X-Men in so long. And I will try that.
But to all who've said not giving Chris Claremont enough credit, I love Chris Claremont, and go back to his earlier work, go back to the Zatanna work he did in Vampire Tales, he did in Hound of Fear, Marvel Preview. You see shades of the Jean Grey story there. You see very early Hickman. His style is very different. His prose is much sparser. He also wrote prose stories. You can read short stories by Chris Claremont there. They wrote short stories. He wrote short stories. It's some of the best horror stories you will read. And go back there, read those. I wrote a column about those. Those stories are fantastic. And you see really where it's coming from. You see the influence there, the strong woman, the powers, the man there as a priest. This is very great stuff. I mean, you see all the building blocks for the great Dark Phoenix saga already there, and you see it in the young Chris Claremont. And it's fantastic. It's very good. Give me new respect for him.
Yeah, I loved Hickman's work. I was picking up his image book with Tom Coker, Black Monday Murders.
Oh yeah, man. Hickman's a beast, brother. Hickman is very. I love this Avengers stuff.
But you see, the thing is, it's funny. Like I like the more sophisticated comics. I like the more sophisticated material. But it's funny. It's like, even as a grown adult, I
agree with you. Sixth Element, Ed Brubaker, and the Ed Brubaker run was also. I like the Ed Brubaker run on X-Men.
But I still like to read a comic book that's fun, and I like it when and again, I think also the part I miss is, and I think as you said, Hickman does write complex stories, and where Claremont would write 1 or 2 issues storylines, and you know, I kind of miss that in a respect. I want some of it to also. It'd be nice to just like read a couple of issues of X-Men again and just go, oh, that was a cool story. That was great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, bro. I agree with you there.
So I do miss that to a certain extent, and you know, it's I think it's that comics used to be sort of written and produced for more than one age group, whereas now I think they're almost too sophisticated. And again, I don't mind sophisticated material, but not from a monthly ongoing comic book. I want something cheerful, like something fun. We can have drama. It could be more,
I agree. Just like Sixth Element does, I think it's just age group stuff, and I don't want to use this word, but it's just what it is right now. It's like a lot of readers are getting bougie, if you will, with that sophistication. You need this, you need that. Yo, how about just having goddamn fun, son? That's fun. Why does everything gotta be bougie? It gotta hit a social. It gotta make a social statement. No, it doesn't. How about take me away from what's happening in the world and take me to someplace else? That's why I love indie. You know what I mean? I see that DC, Marvel, for example, focus too much on the now and these narratives from the now, and it messes with my mind in a sense of like I'm not getting away from what I want to get away from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just like original storytelling. So, Dave, you're right. Chris, you're both right. Where let's dive back into the past. And I understand that even in the past, it had commentary, but it wasn't so much in your face as it is now.
I think it was, the commentary was there. And it's like when people say, oh, there's politics have never been in comics before. It's like, yes, they were. But I think that because the comic, like what would have been told in 1 or 2 issues now has been told in 6 or 12, that they've given, like, we have all these we have 20 pages of conversation sometimes. And you've got to give people something to talk about. And now we get deep into their personal, like, oh, well, I voted for science in my last election, I
don't want to know that.
It's like, what are you telling me that for? I don't
want to know who the fuck you voted for. All I want to know is who the hell you're fighting next and why. Don't tell me your personal stuff in comics. Again, but that's not the character speaking. That's the writer speaking. And that's where the problem lies. It's like, please separate yourself from the character when you create these books. So that way we could have an enjoyable story. Again, now, we're passing the orange years. Let's just forget about that. Let's just please try to progress forward, and just have some things to take us off our minds. For me, comics has always been escapism, not newsism.
Well, it's like we touched on briefly while we were talking to Iceman. Like if Bobby Drake had been handled in such a way that here was someone who was painfully shy.
Yeah.
Now, because he's painfully shy, that's been taken as, well, he was gay. Really, he was gay. I mean, like, look, the X-Men is a big universe, loads of characters. There's new characters being created like every other month. Create new characters with that background, but don't shoehorn that in just so you can say, oh, he's always been gay. We were thinking about that back in 1961.
But you didn't do it in 1961, which is the problem.
Yeah.
Like, you have a character that was going after Polaris, and now all of a sudden he's gay. I mean, now there's a problem with that. They could choose to do whatever they want to do. Absolutely. But it's just a matter of the fact that it's like, damn, this character never showed that in those early days, and you have him going after females.
I've got an idea. Let me write one issue of the X-Men, and I'm going to make Hank McMittens Puerto Rican.
Yeah, you know what? At least as a cat, he'll be safe. And I'll leave it there. I'm not trying to fuck around. I'm just being an asshole right now, but I'm just saying. He'll be safe in PR as a cat, all right?
Okay.
That's funny. Hysterical, bro. It's true, man. Well, Mick Kittens, bro. Fucking Sixth Element. Thank you, bro. Mick Kittens will now forever be his goddamn name.
I thought it was McMittens.
Yo, dude, guys, this has been a fantastic show. Let me shout out Sixth Element. Let me shout out Dave Johnson and Dwayne Scott and everybody else that been tuning in that didn't comment. You shouldn't be shy. I would love for everybody that's been watching, because we've had more watchers than commenters. Please don't be shy. It's okay because I wanted more commenters because I actually had a giveaway. So now I'm going to save that in the next 2 weeks. I want all
Can
of
I have
you
it instead? Can I have it instead?
Bro, let me go. In 2 weeks, we're going to come back and then I'm going to do the giveaway because I want more than three people commenting.
What is it? So then
I got some toys. It's some McFarlane toys, all right? The ones that I don't want to keep, all right? So let me tell you, I'll show them off at the beginning of the next show.
Oh, so they're not Spawn then?
No. I'm not giving up my Mandarin Spawn. Oh, I'll tell you right now. I got something from the last wave. So we have a Dark Knight Batman, the one that looks like Doomsday.
Wow.
And then I also have the actual Todd McFarlane design Batman figure. So if you guys tune in 2 weeks and we get more than 3 people commenting, then we're up on a challenge to give it away. All right. Okay. And each one of you is going to win something. I promise. So we got 2 figures, 2 weeks. You better tune in and comment your asses off because I got something to mail to you. And 6 Element can tell you that, yes, I do send the character out. He just got his win from last time, which is the Green Lantern version of a Batman.
Oh, okay.
He just got it yesterday with a couple of stickers from Comic Crusader stickers and my business card. So, yeah, an undercover cape stickers. So it's a swag box. So, folks, tune in, talk crap, mention stuff, and next time you guys are going to be up to win.
So,
you guys
so, Chris, in that case, then, should we talk about Batman? Have we talked about Batman?
No, we haven't talked about Batman.
Talk about Batman.
Well, if you're doing a Batman giveaway, and I know it's Todd McFarlane figures, but it's Batman giveaway, so maybe we should talk Batman. Maybe we should talk about Batman.
Yo,
let's do it for hours. Let's do it for hours.
You're trying to win the whole collection. He's trying to make sure I feed him with these toys.
Yeah, go for it, man.
You know what?
2 weeks time, Batman.
In 2 weeks, if you're the top commentator, you are going to take it away and win again. So you know what, folks? You got to be 6 Element.
You've got 2 figures, right?
2.
So we can have 2 giveaways.
You know what? Let me show them off real quick. Just to tease before we go. So you guys keep talking. I'm going to pull them out real quick.
All right.
So we do Batman. We need to split. We need to discuss. That's 70 years, 80 years. We have to discuss. We also need to include the Adam West TV series.
Of course, I was just going to suggest we just talk about the TV series.
Oh, we can only talk about that one. Yeah.
I'm happy.
It's so wonderful. Yeah. A really great series. I really love that series.
Okay, guys, I'm back. I got them.
Oh, big presentation here. Unboxing.
Yeah, so check it out, man. Folks, first up, like I said, is that Doomsday version from the Dark Knight's Metal. Like, look at this character.
Ooh, that looks badass.
Hey, let me tell you, this shit weighs like 2 or 3 pounds. This is a heavy-ass character.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
For real.
So the postage.
If you look at the back of the box, look at that. That's him.
Oh,
wow. And then we have the McFarlane design Batman. Now, my brother was like, oh, you're so lucky I ordered that because he wanted it. Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that face sculpt.
Ooh, that was good.
And then look at him. You would think it's Puerto Rican. He got so many damn knives. Look at that.
No, there's
Puerto
even more knives.
Batman right here, son. He got knives. And then look at the back image. Look how gorgeous. That's designed by Todd McFarlane. This is how he would have done his Batman.
And he has pouches. He has pouches.
Yeah, just like Rob Liefeld, Mr. Pouch Man over here. But we got these 2 characters that are going to be up for giveaway on the next show when we get Ultimate Commentary. All right? Look at this. Look at this. Ooh, folks.
I'll tell you what.
And keep this in mind. This is a gold label from Walmart exclusives. These are like, limited. All right?
So, and start coming up, like anybody, if there's anything about Batman you want us to talk about, start sending in your comments now. Catch us on Twitter.
Twitter, Facebook. What is it, Dave?
Facebook. Oh, it's on the bottom.
And where though? International Comic Crusaders. You see it at the bottom. ICC and UC on Twitter. International Comics with an S, Crusaders on Facebook. So, folks, just make sure to throw that in there. Give us some commentary. Give us some topics. And again, whoever even sends in topics is going to have a chance to win. Because I'm going to ask my boy Lucas to give me there's going to be two. Oh, wait, I already figured it out. I'm insane here. We got two ways to do this. We're going to do a spin wheel. I'm going to ask my boy Dark Horse 305, a.k.a. Lucas Fashina from It's Drunken Chat. I'm going to ask him for the spin wheel. The spin wheel is going to be whoever comments, I'm going to add you. And by the end of the show, you're going to win this one. And then for the Batman figure, I want Chris, Dave, and I to agree on who the winner will be.
Ooh.
Based on commentary. So
but
that's
can't just be commentary. It can't just be going like, great podcast, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got to be a question. Give us a good question.
Yes, me. Yes, 6 Element of Hip Hop. Send to me if you want. Alex at Comic Crusaders at live.com, Comic Crusaders at gmail.com. You choose. All right. But we'll definitely take that into consideration. And then we're going to go from there. And 6 Element is like, yeah, boy, he's ready. 6 Element is ready to win. All right, this has been a great show, fellas. Thank you both, though, for the amazing images for the presentation. You guys.
Well, thank you all.
Thank the artists. Exactly.
Yeah. We wouldn't have anything to show if it wasn't for them.
And oh my God, exactly. We kept it supersized. I told you guys, now that I have a 3-day work week, there's no limit to the size of our show. We have gone for 3.5 hours. Amazing.
We were a podcast originally. You can go to iTunes and find our first episodes when we were a podcast.
You go there for that, or you can visit comiccrusaders.com. I have a lot of them. Or you can visit actually undercovercapes.com, where I posted a lot of them. This has been a lot of fun today, man, learning about the X-Men with my two amazing brothers from across the seas, Dave Elliott representing the UK, Chris Buse representing Germany, and of course, Al Mega representing Puerto Rico in the United States.
Yeah.
You know, I got to roll my R's. Puerto Rico. I love it, man. It's been a great time. Guys, please tune in. Folks, first off, before I leave, I want you to share and send love to my extended family here. So, Dave, where can they follow you?
It says it right there.
Right there.
Exactly.
At Dave Elliott. And that's everywhere on Twitter and Instagram,
Yes,
Facebook.
Twitter, Instagram, come along to DeviantArts, whatever you like.
Beautiful. And what about you, Chris? Because I know you got awesome columns coming up.
Find me on Twitter. Yeah. Find me on Twitter. That's where you find me the easiest. That's right.
And
here.
you see that name, Chris. Let me underscore Chris. Let me tell you, Chris's Twitter is Comic Books 101. Amazing knowledge shared, and then we have the inclusion of our extended family that partakes in these conversations. Let me shout out some of them before we go, because honest to God, they deserve it, man. They have been amazing people in our lives. You got Edward Hui, we got the course Shadewing. Hold on, let me can you name the other folks? What was it? Oh man, what's the other individual that's always watching us? That always comments? Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm being an ass right now. I see on you. CC. I just want to get them names down, bro. Let me tell you that they always retweet us and show a lot of love. Doc, right?
Oh yeah, Billy.
Yes, Billy always.
Billy always shows our love. So shout out to you. We got Cavalcade Comics that was sharing our stuff.
We have Tony, Seven Soldiers. Shout
them out, because these are the people that show us a lot of love. And I want them to know that, thank you for first tuning in, listening, watching, sharing. It means a lot to us. We put a lot of effort into this, so it's absolutely appreciated. And again, Dave, thank you. Chris, thank you for the time today. And over here, man, you got Reno sending you a salute.
Yes.
Huepa, para que tú sepas, Omega, Body Supremo, Isabela, ahí que estamos, papá. Hasta la próxima. We're going to see you guys in 2 weeks. Dave, Chris, thank you once again for hanging out. International Comic Crusaders, baby. ICC on UC. You better follow us, International Comic Crusaders, on Facebook. We're all over the place. And with that, much love. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. We love
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
everyone.
you so much, man.
Stay safe. Stay safe.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
man. Stay safe. Way.